mornings from 10 to 11. 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10. It's time for Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. The first hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stack, Sportsworthy, and Brian Davis.
Welcome into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you live and local inside our Family Leisure Studios. Landon Schmidt producing. We're Sports Time. We're with you for the next 3 hours. A ton to get into this afternoon as news all over the place throughout the weekend. We talked about it on Friday being a sneaky good sports weekend. It really turned into a great sports weekend. We had the NBA Finals action with OKC getting a win in Game 2. We've got unfortunate Grizzlies news as Zach Edey will need surgery on his ankle. How about the maybe ultimate Friday news dump with the House settlement going through at about 8 p.m. our time, which is about 6 p.m. out in California where all of this was going down. A very busy weekend. You informed me about the horse that won over the weekend that I completely forgot about, if I'm being completely honest. So plenty to get to over these next 3 hours. But, Brett, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Landon, did you watch the Belmont?
No.
I'm the only one that had it covered for us, didn't I?
Yeah, I completely forgot about it.
Great race.
I did see the updates, though.
Great race, great year in the Big Three. We ended up maybe having 3 super horses.
It was
Sovereignty, Journalism, and Basil.
As weird as it was, I do think having Sovereignty win the first one, not race at the Belmont, or no, at Preakness, because Belmont was this weekend, and then race at Belmont was almost more intriguing because you had him win the first one, you had Journalism win the second one. It kind of became this, all right, best of 3, who's gonna win it?
I hit all 4 in our picks.
How about that?
I had Sovereignty to win, Journalism place.
Well, as close as you're following it, I mean.
I had Rodriguez, the show, came in 4th. Baez, the 4th, came in 3rd. So I had 4 out of 4 in the money, or in the picks. 2, 3, 6, 7. This was not the year of paying off with the tickets.
No,
it was all just very, very small payout. Landon had all 4.
How about that?
But I had the winner. He had Journalism, so I win the tiebreak. Agree?
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Brett.
Thank you, Brian.
What does that get you? Horse picks.
I don't feel the love. I'm going to put a banner up somewhere.
There you go, somewhere. I don't know where.
How about this? I'll make you one.
Okay.
Make you a banner. Hang up.
And really, I was pretty good in Kentucky and at Baltimore.
You
So
were.
I picked all 3 winners this
How
year.
about that? I mean, you're on a roll. Save some of that for golf picks.
Horse
Save it
racing
for
champion over here.
Friday football forecast.
That's
is what I
exactly.
mean.
That's what really matters.
But it was a sneaky good weekend, but then not so sneaky, horrific weekend.
Yeah.
With the news.
Well, maybe the most sneaky thing ever, because who saw that coming with Zach Edey? I certainly didn't.
I mean, I thought the Friday Judge Claudia Wilkin news dump might be the only thing of the weekend.
Nah, far from it.
And how did you get the news Saturday?
It's actually hilarious.
Shams bomb?
Well, so I was at a coffee shop, and they were having some jewelry pop up at this coffee shop that I frequent a lot. So I took Melinda, my girlfriend, to this because she wanted to see the jewelry, and so we went so she could buy some. So I'm sitting there, me and my brother sitting there drinking our coffee. She's down looking at the jewelry, and Connor just like I'm about to say it goes, Edey surgery. I go, what? And he goes, Zach Edey's got to have surgery. Just like that. I go, what are you talking about? And he goes, Zach Edey, it's just reported, he has to have surgery on his ankle. So then I pull out my phone and I start scrolling, holy cow, what in the world is going on?
Give me a time frame, because I'm close to this same time.
I mean, it was right when
2-ish?
Shams, yeah, it was around 2-ish, maybe closer to 1:30. So
no expletive. It was just this. You got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
And my brother said, what? I said, Zach Edey.
Zach Edey surgery. I mean, it is out of nowhere. I mean, did not expect that happening before the NBA Finals were even over, getting news like that. But now it's really devastating for him, certainly. I mean, to have this offseason of, all right, I saw what the NBA is. I saw kind of where I'm at in year 1. Now let's take that, get to the offseason, get to work, and get ready for year 2. And now that's all out the window, and it sounds like going to miss the start of the season, which, as we know, what does that really mean?
And we want people to tell us at the Sissy's Log Cabin text line, what's your biggest reservation about this news? What's the biggest problem you have with the news? I don't want to prejudice the jury, but here's mine. I know everybody today, everybody in the NBA world, everybody local, they're talking, this is almost more than you can bear with Grizzlies and injury news.
Sure.
That speaks for itself. Let me be clear. Jason Wexler, Zach Kleiman, Domas Isolo, nobody could help this.
Right. Yeah.
Nobody could
took
help
a hammer to the ankle or anything.
So by no means am I blaming them for the injury. What I am blaming them for, and now you're getting it, and I think we'll get the response at 901-360-8255 on the reaction, is this. And I have warned about it and been very concerned about it, that they have destroyed any reservoir of goodwill with the whole how coy they are about injury. Here's what we're all worried about. He's not going to be back in January.
Yeah.
We know this with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We know it will be longer haul, and we know. Don't we know enough? I know right now somebody's saying you're not an orthopedist. Well, neither are you. Probably the person that's saying that. No more than I was epidemiologist. No more than the ones that all took everything the burning bush Fauci said is the gospel. We know a sprained ankle needs reconstructive surgery.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound right.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound great. I mean, it sounds the way at least the PR reads is that this is more, they feel like this is something kind of proactive. Let's get ahead of this, and maybe this is something that's going to keep popping up. Let's
like
get
Steven
proactive.
Adams' injury.
Well, yes, that's
like Brandon Clark's knee injections.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean,
like way back when, the Mike Dickerson injury.
Yeah.
It's 2 to 6 weeks. That's all, Brett.
That's right. Yeah.
And that wasn't this current management team either. It's been a continuum, but this bunch has taken it to where we can't believe anything they say on a lot of things. And it's the warning shot that I have fired about the mismanagement of this franchise.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, because that was the first thing. When I saw the report from Shams and it says we'll likely miss the start of the season, I mean, I think with a lot of teams you can look at that and go, okay, he's probably going to miss a couple weeks. Maybe we're talking about a December return and cool, whatever. But we've seen with this group that when it says we'll probably miss the start of the season, that who knows when that means. That can mean January, that can mean February, that can mean 2 weeks in the season, it can mean you won't see him at all next season. Now, again, hopefully, if this is just something very proactive and small surgery, I don't know anything about the surgery or anything about any of that, but that's kind of what the hope is that, this is small and more trying to help him for down the road, because when you start getting 7'4" and that size and kind of ankle injuries, foot injuries, different stuff like that.
That's the anatomy of how the big man breaks down.
It's exactly right, and so I think it's
how many times, Brian, during the year did I say one thing I love about Zach Edey, no knee pads, and they're not icing him down every time he's kind of shut down in the game.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was a nice thing to see, but then you get this news.
But we went lower, down to ankle.
Down to the ankle.
And now with so many teams being able to safely, legally hide behind, we can't talk about injury because of HIPAA. Well, first of all, if that player gives you the permission to, you can. You could tell anything about him. Just go ask him. Can we be more forthcoming with the public about this injury? When was he hurt this time?
It sounds like earlier this week or last week during a workout is what it sounds like.
We know he was hurt during the year with something in this neighborhood. Right. Could he have been shut down then and averted this instead of the potential at the earliest of January? That would have been more around opening opening night, around November 10th even.
Yeah, I don't know the how those injuries work, but yeah, I mean, I guess you could make that case.
But everybody's going to wallow in, make it stop. How come we have to have all these injuries? Why are the Grizzlies so star-crossed? And that really deflects from this management team really being drilled down and questioned. I would assume around the draft they would have another availability, and we're going to get the whole HIPAA stuff around this when they should be giving more, and that player could consent to it.
Yeah, no, you're right, and it's it's another offseason with stuff like this.
And if the player doesn't want to consent to it, then it tells me it's very, very serious, and he's scared of scaring off other teams in the future.
Well, I don't know if it would even get that far. I don't think any front office is going to go to a player and say, "Can we talk about your injuries with the media?" I mean, they're fine not being able to do it. They want to not be able to talk about those injuries.
Also, how much medical drilling down again, evaluation did they do on those ankles?
That's a good question.
Before they drafted him.
Yeah, it's weird because, that was the big thing about Zach Edey, coming out of college was, well, he doesn't get injured. He's a big man at that size, and really, you don't see injury history, and now, after year one, already having to have surgery. So, it definitely doesn't make you feel good.
What do you think this does to the potential of being active, dealing current roster players?
I don't think it should change too much.
If you were going to deal Jaren, would you still now?
Yeah, certainly that changes things. I don't know if you're as willing to.
I think this
Jaren.
freezes. I think this ensures opening night the medium-sized threes back.
It could. I think you can still trade Desmond and be fine. I think you can still probably even trade a guy like Brandon Clark. I think. Personally, to me, this opens.
You can trade Brandon Clark with the knee injections.
Well, that's a great point. You have to have a trade partner. But I'm looking down the list of guys that you would be willing to. Not saying you can, but
I'm sorry.
Just that guys that I still think you can move off of. Because personally, to me, I think this is a perfect opportunity to go out, whether it's trade, whether it's free agency, and go and get a veteran center, and maybe a guy that's later in his career.
Well, a year ago was dreaming of Hartenstein.
Sure, yeah. And I think that'd be a little more than what you want to pay. But there's a couple guys out there on free agency. I'm sure you can go and try to make a trade. And because look, here's the thing:
just a big Rambler type.
Just a veteran center that you can make your starting center, and then whenever Zach Edey returns, can be a guy that he can kind of learn from, kind of watch. Because here's the thing: with an ankle injury, after we know he's going to be missing this much time, no matter when he comes back, it can be November, it can be December, it can be January, it can be whenever. He's not going to be the same person immediately when he gets back on the court, and
the lost time with the new coach.
Yeah, it's just
the new coach that was going to emphasize him.
That's right. So, it's just...
We were told that he did in that short span. That was the rosiest scenario.
Oh, yeah. So, I think it's... there's a lot here to it. I would love for them to go out and bring in a veteran center and, just kind of slowly bring Zach Edey back and maybe use next year more as a get back healthy. Let's kind of keep developing things and not try to... Because I could really see them just sitting there and going, okay, well, this stops everything, and Jaren and Brandon, you're going to be our bigs to start the season, and then Zach Edey comes back and you throw him immediately in there as your starting five, and you just try to go along like everything's all right, and it's not going to be. This is a guy that's going to miss several months, more than several months, with an ankle injury. That's not the easiest thing to come back from.
How many games from opening, let's say around October 20th to January 5th? What's that, about 30 games, 35 games?
Yeah, it's close to that. Yeah. Man, that's a big bulk.
I want to see the schedule, but I don't think anybody can count on him before about January 1. They're saying that.
That's right. Yeah. No, it's and that's the thing is kind of what does that. The Grizzlies themselves have not put out anything on when he could be back, and that's kind of the. I don't know. I guess take it however you want. It can be more scary than them just placing something.
And there's the crowd out there of, all right, this should speed it up.
Yeah.
Tear it all down. Win 17 next year.
Well, yeah. I mean, that could be a
What
way
does
to go
that
about
get
it.
you though in the draft this time next year? We don't. Who's that end all be all answer?
Yeah, I mean, DeBanza, but I mean, there's a couple good players.
Well, that might be
next
worth
year.
it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a handful of good players that are going to be in next year's draft. I don't.
And if we did that,
Well.
we committed to utter incineration, tear it down,
Ugh.
win 17. We draw.
No, nothing. I mean, that's. I don't even want to think about that idea. That doesn't sound fun at all. I mean, going throughout next year of just, hey, let's blow it up this offseason and run out. I don't even know who you run out there.
And are we sure? Nobody knows.
Run Jay Huff out there.
There's no way they can say yes. What if everything doesn't go right with the medical procedure?
Sure, yeah. I mean, that's the thing.
What if January of 26 turns into January of 27?
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is going back to the Grizzlies putting it out and saying at the end of that statement, quote, a preliminary timeline will be provided following surgery, but Edie is expected to make a full recovery. So they didn't even want to put a timeline on it before the surgery. Let the surgery get through, and then we'll put a timeline on it.
I think we collectively, media, fans, everybody associated with the Grizzlies, are missing some of this story by wanting to wallow in, well, we can't have nice things. And, why do we always have players get hurt? The Grizzlies have an inordinate amount of this when fundamentally this franchise has not been operated well.
Yeah, well, it was really, really rough news over the weekend to hear that about Zach Edey. We'll talk more about that throughout today's show. DeMichael Cole going to join us at 5 o'clock, and we'll spend the next segment talking about it and kind of what this means for the Grizzlies moving forward. But a busy show today. Let me set it up before we get to top and not top story of the day. 3:30, we'll talk a lot of Grizzlies and this Zach Edey news. What does this mean now for the offseason, and what will this group look like going into next year's season? 3:45, we'll talk about the NBA Finals. OKC with a 123-107 win last night against the Pacers. Made it look easy, so easy that we got James Johnson minutes in 2025, which was fun to see, I guess. But
got a dunk.
Sure did. No, I mean he was. The
announcers were amazed by it.
Well, I think I was amazed when he checked in. I was shocked, but that might be the ultimate waving of the white flag when in 2025 James Johnson is getting playing time. We'll talk a little bit about the NBA Finals. 4 o'clock, David Cobb from CBS Sports will join us. We'll talk college football, college basketball, the big news Friday night about the House settlement. We'll get to that with David at 4 o'clock. 4:30, Joe Tomek from the FedEx St. Jude Championship will join us as we're getting closer to being out in Southland. I saw some pictures the other day starting to get the structures up, the buildings everywhere starting to
FedEx St. Jude Championship City's going up.
That's right. So it's fun. It feels like we're getting closer. So Joe Tomek will join us at 4:30 to talk about it. 4:45, we'll get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, DeMichael Cole, the Grizzlies beat writer over at the Commercial Appeal. He'll join us. We'll talk Zach Edey. We'll talk this offseason. We'll talk players to keep an eye on for the draft. And we'll talk a little bit of everything when it comes to Grizzlies offseason. It's been a couple weeks since we've talked to DeMichael or David Cobb, so a lot to catch up on with both of those guys. 5:30, we'll get to what's trending, and at 5:45, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. It's pool time, and Family Leisure is already booking pool installs for 2025. Buy now and get on the list for your pool installation. 2024 pool starting at $19.99 installed, with liner starting at $299, and right now, all pool accessories up to 20% off. 5-6-person hot tubs starting at $69.99, with swim spas and cold plunge tubs now $2,000 off. Don't forget about patio furniture. Select sets now up to 50% off, and if you mention this ad, get free installation only at Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40.
We are Sportstime, and we're with you until 6 o'clock, and we want you to join our show by texting or calling, 901-360-8255 at the Sissy's Log Cabin text and talk line. He's Brian, I'm Brett. We're produced by Landon Schmidt, and we're always in our Family Leisure Studios, and this hour always brought to you by the great people at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Great offers on all 2025 models and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Call them at 901-334-9673, but they invite you to stop by the only Lexus dealership in Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2025 flagship LS500, and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the safe luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day's got to be the news we got late Friday night. The House settlement has officially gone through, and now we start a new era of college athletics.
Hope I never hear from Judge Claudia Wilkin again.
Yeah, well, she can get done with her work, wipe her hands clean, and then, like I said, hopefully we never hear from her again. I mean,
the Arizona State swimmer.
Yes, it was a long process because there were times I was like, when is this going to wrap up? I mean, it felt like we get little bits and pieces of news, little bits and pieces of news over here, over there. And then finally, Friday night, really when I was least expecting it, we get all of the tweets and breaking news. A little bit. I'm gonna let it play out a little bit. I'm gonna let us kind of get started.
It'll give you a sick headache.
It sure will. I mean, because there is a lot to this.
It's got more holes in it.
Oh, I mean, that's
every lawyer.
That's the thing is
everybody just graduated from law schools going after this.
Man. I don't have the quote in front of me right now, but there was a quote from Charlie Baker over the weekend where he was like, "This is the first step in us getting back to normal, and this is going to fix a lot of issues." And I was sitting there reading it, going,
"It's the end of the NCAA.
Issue here, issue there, issue." I mean, like you said, there are lawyers lining up all across the country ready to get after this because this is only the start of a lot of lawsuits coming down the pipe. But hey, for now, we know it's a new era. We know now that schools can directly pay student athletes moving forward. We also know that back pay, the $2.7 billion for players between 2016 and 2024. Another thing that this really affects the University of Memphis, the roster limit. Scholarships will go from 85 to 105, but that's all going to be scholarship players. So now the roster limit will go down from 120 to 105 in football, and basketball, it will increase from 13 to 15. We've been talking about for a long time, Jason Munn's every single story he writes, everything he puts out on social media, he kind of has that caveat beside it of, right now, the max scholarship is 13, but once the House settlement goes through, that will go up to 15. Now we know that will go up to 15 roster spots and 15 scholarship roster spots. So it sounds like Memphis is planning to have 15 scholarship guys on their roster going next season. So we'll see how those are filled. But yes, a lot of news out there. If you tried to digest all of it over the weekend, you probably have a migraine today. So I'm just going to let it play out, and I'm going to go with it as the rest of the country.
Here come the lawyers.
Oh, man.
I mean, this is going to be just the Title IX aspect of it.
No kidding.
Because that's not going away. No. My top story is the Grizzlies with just terrible offseason news, almost unimaginable to keep getting this wave after wave of bad news and bad luck. But I think it speaks to a much larger issue with the management of Wexler and Kleiman. They've played the cat and mouse game on injuries for years, hide and go seek on injuries for years. They've had the rope-a-dope mentality with injuries for years. So now we get to this crucible and nobody trusts them. Nobody. Nobody's believing a word being put out of 191 Beale Street because we've got a mountain of evidence of them playing the evasive game. And they can do this with injury in the name of HIPAA, but they also could be a little more candid. But it is bad news, and nobody expects him back around January. Nobody.
No, not at all.
Not top story of the day.
Well, my not top story of the day, it was Game 2 from the NBA Finals last night. OKC with a 123-107 win, and for the most part, made it look easy. It was back and forth early in the first quarter, both teams taking a ton of threes, but then in the second quarter, OKC able to open it up and really never looked back. You see Johnny Furphy getting in there and getting minutes with about 5 minutes left. Yeah, well, he looks extremely young, but he was getting some minutes with about 4 or 5 minutes left. Then here comes James Johnson, and it really felt like OKC was not going to leave any sort of doubt out there of another Indiana comeback. They left their starters in to about 1.5, 2 minutes in that game. They were not going to say, all right, here's any opening for you. And so they left their guys in there and made sure to solidify that 123-107 win. SGA was really, really good. And you look at some of the shooting numbers for Indiana, just a lot of missed shots out there. I think they finished with 14 made threes. But out of all of them, Aaron Nesmith was 4 for 8, but outside of that, it was a struggle from deep for Indiana. You saw OKC make some changes, defend the three ball a lot better, but now you go back to Indiana, and for the Pacers, all they wanted was a split at OKC going back home. Now they've got it. We'll see what happens. You know that atmosphere is going to be incredible in Indianapolis for this team that hasn't been in this position in a really long time. It will be fun to see what Game 3's atmosphere is and what kind of fight the Pacers have.
It will be. That's my not top story as well. Now, NBA Finals, all even at 1 after Oklahoma City's domination. Game 3 on Wednesday in Indianapolis. Oklahoma City 18-2 this year after a loss, 12 of that 18 by double digits. So that means if Indiana wins game 3, how will they respond in Game 4? We'll get to that then. Indiana only wanted one game in Oklahoma City. That's all they got. But they have to have both 3 and 4. They have to be up 3-1 the next time they play in Oklahoma City, and we'll see how Oklahoma City responds. They almost always respond well, but let's see how they respond if they were to lose 2 in a row.
Yeah, and that's the thing. This OKC team has shown they have been so good throughout the entire playoffs. It's going to be a challenge for Indiana. But hey, you go back 1-1. Let's see what they've got in store for Game 3. Well, that'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and get to our first break. And when we return, we're talking Grizzlies and the Zach Edey news next on Sports Time.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Everything today is technologically based. Well, except maybe you. If you're struggling with tech, no matter what kind, call Tech for You. Tech for You for TVs, home theaters, cameras, smart locks, digital storage, and more. Tech for You makes it simple and affordable. 697-9695. Make your home safe, comfortable, and up to date with Tech for You. Stop struggling with tech. Call 697-9695. Veteran owned and operated Tech for You. Technology simplified.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Pools, and more pools. Yes, it is pool time at Family Leisure. Family Leisure is already booking pool installs, so you need to buy now and get on that list. 24-foot pools start at $19.99 install. Liners are starting at $2.99. You're going to need some pool accessories, so they're all up to 20% off. Not quite ready for a pool? That's fine. Get a 5 or 6 person hot tub starting at under $7,000. You can also go for a swim spa or perhaps a cold plunge tub. Those are now $2,000 off. Get patio furniture up to 50% off on select sets. Buy your pool now. Get on that install list. Mention this commercial, and your install is free. It's underlined in the in bold print, so you know it's big. It's pool time at Family Leisure. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Visit Frontier Western Store today for new shirts and boots. Frontier is your top Carhartt store in the Mid-South. There's thousands of in-stock shirts and jeans. They have the classic K87 pocket tee in every color they make, including new ones just released. Available small to 4X. Want new jeans? Frontier has you covered with super tough work denim by Carhartt. And you've got to check out their selection of Ariat jeans for men, women, and children. You'll love how easy it is to find the size and style you need. Have you seen Frontier's remodeled world-famous boot showroom? It continues to expand. New styles by Ariat just arrived, plus plenty of in-stock proven classics too. Whether you need work or dress dress boots, trust that Frontier is the place to come. See thousands of pairs of Ariat boots and thousands more by Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, Twisted X, and others. And Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so you know just the local shop to visit. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
This traffic brought to you by Raleigh Tire Auto Service, your local family-owned business for over 60 years.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon, MPD. Wrapping up a couple of wrecks we had earlier through the Midtown area. Seems to have gotten a little bit busier in the last 15-20 minutes. I-40 up by Chelsea. Still moving at 55 across the bridge over into Crittenden County. Still not too bad right now south of Memphis as far as traffic delays down through there. Still some showers, however, south of Memphis. Be careful. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry is your diamond engagement ring headquarters this bridal season. Stop by and see them this week at Weimer's Jewelry on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now, back to Sports Time. Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus Service. Here are your hosts, Let's Talk Sports with Brian Gates.
Well, if you were living under a rock this weekend as a Grizzlies fan, you missed some big news. Shams Charania on Saturday reported, quote, Memphis Grizzlies all-rookie center Zach Edey re-sprained his left ankle in an off-season workout this week and will undergo surgery to restabilize the ankle. Edey will likely miss the beginning of the 2025-26 NBA season, end of quote. Grizzlies PR put out a statement, basically said the exact same thing, but also added that, quote, a preliminary timeline will be provided following surgery, but Edey is expected to make a full recovery, end of quote. So very clearly, Shams Charania's sources were the ones that told him Zach Edey is likely to miss the start of the season because Grizzlies PR did not want to put a timeline prior to the surgery.
Is there a worse notification on Twitter as Grizzlies PR?
No, it is awful. It's the worst.
It's always bad news, isn't it?
No, it's never good news. It's always bad news. And especially this time. I don't want a Grizzlies PR notification on June 9th. Give me the player, whatever, who's playing, who's not playing, the injury reports, status reports, whatever I'm supposed to call them now. I don't want these notifications in the offseason because they always mean bad. Unless it's like draft day, then sure. Draft day
But it's never we're signing LeBron James.
No, it's always an injury.
It's always doomsday injury.
That's right, yeah.
And we all also know it's always a head fake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, now we've seen it, offseason after offseason after offseason. I mean, last year it was Gigi Jackson. The year before, it was Steven Adams. I mean, we're going back to now 3 or 4 years where it's been offseason injuries and bad luck for the Grizzlies.
It has been. Again, that management, those coaches, they cannot help this. They cannot help an injury.
Mm-mm.
But if you're in business and you have that 30 and 52 season, there's no way they can withstand that next April.
No. I mean, I do not. I don't know. Again, we don't know how much time he's going to miss, but
because this is going to throw off everything. This is going to impede not development of, but familiarity with him in this offense, this new offense. Mostly or refined from Tomas Isolo, it's gonna affect Ja. It's gonna affect Jaren. If Bane's gone, fine. But we will look up in April and we will be at the end of year 7 of Ja, year 8 of Jaren. Let's say 40 and 42. But outside looking in, not in the playoffs. Really, and we know 40 and 42 won't get you close.
Yeah,
that'll be eliminated about NCAA basketball tournament time, 25th of March time. That will have a devastating impact on this franchise.
Yeah, I mean, look.
And on the powers that be, and it should.
No, I mean, the expectation for next year's team is to be in the playoffs. And it's not being in the playoffs because you won the play-in. It's to have a protected seed in the playoffs.
I don't mean it. I do not mean it combative with you. Why is this team expected to be in the playoffs next year, Bryant?
Because we've seen them do it. I mean, we've seen this core get into the playoffs and be a high seed, and we saw them be the 8th seed last year. I think they should be making deals.
Won one series.
Well, that's true, but they were still in there. I mean, they were the 2 seed that year. I mean,
that's right.
If they can do that with this core, if we're either going to bring back the same core or go out and try to retinker it and either make it better or get pieces that you think can fit better. And you were the 8th seed last year. We know the everything that went on last year. Why shouldn't this team be a playoff team? And I don't think the Zach Edey injury should change that. Like, this team, whether he's back at the beginning of the season, if it's January, that should not change the fact that the Grizzlies should be in the playoffs next year. And if they're not, then yeah, you have to make a lot of changes in the front office, I think.
And the teardown will happen then that maybe should be happening now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's definitely a side that you can look to that and say.
We were nowhere near mentally prepared ever in the Ja years of having to have the wrecking ball teardown.
No, certainly not. Certainly not.
We thought we would be talking parade routes before we would be talking wrecking ball. And this is not Ja's fault.
No.
This is not.
No. I mean, it's this front office that has sat on their hands pretty much every offseason, and I'm worried that they're going to do that again this year with this injury and say, well, he's got injured, and what are we supposed to do about it?
Roll out the medium-sized 3 again.
Yeah, and I mean,
because we know one of the medium-sized 3 can sell tickets.
Yes, no doubt about it. One, I think, can kind of sell tickets.
And collectively, they're certainly known.
Sure.
I think the likability factor will wane.
Definitely. No.
Did this year.
You're at the end of the season.
We're looking and talking about Desmond Bain like 2 years ago we never could have imagined.
Not at all. No, you're exactly right. I mean, a lot has changed.
And he largely, not alone, but he was a big piece of Zach Kleiman being executive of the year. That expiration date has hit.
Oh yeah, no, that's history.
on exec of the year.
That's history. Yeah, no, it really has. But I don't think this should really change a ton of what you were going to do this offseason. I think you still have to go out and try to make this team better and try to make some of the moves that you wanted to make prior to this injury, and see where you're at when he gets back. I would love for them to go out and try to find a veteran option.
Sounds like the 25 games for Ja.
Well,
let's tread water, see where we are. I think I said 14 and 11.
Sure,
How goofy was that?
What a weird time that was. But, I mean, for me, I want him to go out and get a cheap big. Because I think what Zach Edey's giving you...
You think they're out there?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Steven Adams is going to be a free agent this year. What's Zach Edey doing that Steven Adams isn't doing?
Are we ready for to a big Steve-O?
I think so. I mean, I
love him
with it. I mean, but if you can get him,
we know he can get fragile.
If you can get him on a cheap deal, bring him in, and he's kind of that stopgap, if that's what you want to call it. I think it'd be a fine deal. Because what are you going to throw out there? What are you going to throw out there? Jay Huff? I mean, is Jay Huff going to be your starting center?
No.
Is Jaren going to be your starting center and foul out every game? I mean...
would lead the world in fouls.
I mean, Brandon Clark, undersized. I mean...
If he's back.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I don't know. There are other options out there.
Steve-O, we need you.
He's the one that we're familiar with, and I think gives you a lot of what... I think he does a lot of the same things Zach Edey does.
JV
Probably
available?
Does it better. Well, I don't know. That might be... I don't want to go too pricey here. I mean, if I'm supposed to believe that Zach Edey is going to be the franchise center, but I'm still not there yet. But, I guess everyone else is.
I feel like Grizzlies sit still and try to roll out the known.
That'd be weird. But it'd be easy. It'd be the easiest thing to do one of our big pieces got injured, and that kind of derailed our entire offseason.
Not our fault.
No, and then
never is.
If that's the case, then yeah, there's serious issues next year. I believe so.
It was overwhelmingly bad news.
No, it was terrible news.
And for his critics, for the Zach Edey critics that are numerous, near and far. now he may not be himself to be able to defend himself.
Yeah, well, and I mean, and that was
I thought he was pretty good last year. How many times did I say over the course of years, games played, minutes played, games appeared in, minutes played, points, rebounds, all those numbers we would take.
Oh yeah, certainly. No, he was good last year. He was really good. I am a critic of Zach Edey. I'm not sold on it, but he was really good last year.
I would say skeptic.
Skeptic, yeah. I would probably fall more in the skeptic.
You never dogged him.
No, and I certainly won't, because he was out there. He played a ton. He played well when he was in there. I mean,
can't teach 7-3.
Well, let's not go down that road. We've been down that road again, but you're right. But you're exactly right when it comes to the critics. I mean, one of the big things that was
if he never plays another down, he's better than Hasheem.
Oh, for sure, for no question. But one of the biggest kind of pushbacks to some of the criticism was, well, look at all of what he did in college. Look at how he was never injured in college. And now here we are. He's injured. And again, this is a guy that just got done with his rookie season and now will not have an off season to get any work done. It's going to take some time once he gets back to really get back into the feel of the game, really
impede his development.
And another thing is, one of the things that we all talk about is, Zach Edey is not a lateral quickness player. I mean, he is not the fastest. He isn't. I mean, he's fine.
Pretty stationary.
You talk about an ankle injury. I mean, that's gonna at least early when you're trying to get back, that's gonna slow you down a little bit. And so it's definitely something to worry about. And that's
there's
why
a lot to worry about.
Oh, there's a lot to worry about. But
and we know it's never this won't be the only one with a big man.
No.
Now it's
definitely
a long time ago. Medical technology far different. The pure diagnosis of the injury. Bill Walton's estate could sue Portland and the NBA now for letting him play on that. You could even go back to his UCLA days. The final game, the night against the Tigers, when he badly twisted his ankle and Larry Finch had to help him off the floor. He was damaged goods from the beginning. They shot him up. They lied to him. None of that's happening now because you can't. It's just too good of medical care now. But it's never one injury with somebody 7'3". Here's something else you can't teach. Along with you can't teach 7'3". It's hard not to make them fragile.
Yeah, no, it's and you
hard
see
not
it a lot.
To make them fragile.
Sure, I mean you see it a lot with big mans. It's just that's a lot of weight on those legs, those feet, on those ankles, and I hope
pure inertia.
Yeah, I mean I hope this is just one thing, but when you're talking about one rookie season in and we're already talking about surgery, that doesn't make you feel good at all. And so we got a text message earlier that I wanted to get to. Maybe more of a, I don't want to label this texter as anything, so I won't. But it says, Edey will not show any progress this year because of the injury. I don't know why they don't get a center trade Bane. Were they really counting on Edey to be anything other than mediocre, a superstar he isn't and will not happen?
I mostly agree with that.
Yeah.
I, except for using mediocre.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was fine last year, but there were definitely room for improvement.
Piece.
Sure. But you wanted to see that develop and then see what he can be in year two. And now that big part in the middle
Texture's right.
is not going to happen at all. And so, yeah, I mean, I want them to go out and find a veteran center, whether it's a guy that I'm for bringing in a guy that can be your starting center all year long. And when Zach Edey comes back, he's a guy that comes off the bench for you. I think that would have a lot of pushback from people, but I don't see why not. If you're telling me that you want to be a team that can compete,
that high draft pick to be a bench player,
I'd be fine with it. I mean, he's still very young. I mean, look at some of those other. I mean,
that's true.
Ron Holland was drafted 3 or 4 picks higher than him, and he was playing 5-6 minutes in Detroit. So I mean, especially, and this is more with coming off this injury. If you just say, "Hey, Zach Edey, we want you to come off the bench for us this year," and then maybe whether it's a guy that's going to be end of his contract next year, you just get a guy on a 1-year deal.
And now Eastlaw will have to change his offensive strategies.
Yeah, definitely. Because I mean, if the pick and roll is supposed to be what you're running out there, I mean, what kind of pick and roll are you going to do with any of your other bigs on your roster?
I still don't know why Taylor Jenkins was fired.
Yeah, well, that makes a couple of us, but I don't think we'll get full answers on that ever. And so now, even more questions for the rest of the offseason, and we'll see where they go from here. But still waiting on any moves for anybody in the NBA. It feels like once we see those two big guys make their decisions, Kevin Durant and Giannis, of where they end up or decide to go back to the team, then we'll start seeing some other moves. But we're going to get back to this conversation about 5 o'clock. DeMichael Cole, the Grizzlies writer over at the Commercial Appeal. He'll join us. We'll talk all things Zach Edey. We'll talk about the who they could be targeting this offseason, what this injury does to this offseason. And he did write a story last week about some second-round guys to keep an eye on in the NBA draft that I want to get to with him as well. We'll do all of that at 5 o'clock, but let's go ahead and get to a break. And when we return, we'll talk a little bit about what happened last night in the NBA Finals. That's next on Sports Time.
This is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roofing. Did you know there are so many roofing companies in Memphis that I don't even know them all? So that begs the question, which one should you choose? So I thought I'd give you a little background about me. My grandfather was a World War II Marine. My father worked for the University of Memphis for nearly 30 years. My mother, a pianist at Raleigh Baptist Church. Seems like forever. I went to Brownsville Road, Craigmont, and Bartlett High School, class of 81. We support the local school systems, youth athletics, and believe in what St. Jude and Le Bonheur stand for. I'm a Tiger and Grizz fan. The point? Memphis is my home. Five-Ash Roofing will be around if you ever have a problem with the service we provide. Five-Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical, with deep local ties in our community. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing is what we do. We're here for you.
When you're hungry for good meat, trust the family that has been feeding Memphis since 1967. Tony Hogan and the Triangle Meat Company, formerly Children's Meat Market. Trust Triangle Meat for fresh beef, hamburger, and rubs. Trust Triangle Meat for delicious pork ribs, chops, and butts. And trust Triangle Meat for tender chicken, your love. Eating lots of folks, Triangle Meat Company has all the meat you need. Shop Triangle Meat Company, 8 to 5, Monday through Saturday, 47 Summer Avenue, 901-683-1192. Fresh information, big or small, trust Triangle Meat Company.
That's the whole point. It's a secret.
Why does Central Barbecue feel like they have to keep the ingredients of their dry rub a secret?
Because it's just that good. If people could find out the ingredients in Central Barbecue's dry rub, they could reverse engineer it and make their own Central Barbecue dry rub.
Reverse engineer? These aren't state secrets.
They may as well be. This is serious business. Central Barbecue already tells everybody that they slow smoke their meat for a full 24 hours over hickory and pecan, and that there's never any sauce in the pit. They're giving away too much information as it is.
They're not giving away secrets. It's advertising. They're boasting about those things.
You are so naive.
Jenkins Floors and More invites you to the retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors at 2356 Goodman Road in Horn Lake. Also stores in Cleveland, Mississippi and Little Rock. They specialize in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds. Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. Contractors, builders, or family projects call 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business.
Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, Automatic Gates Construction tailors custom-made solutions for all your residential, commercial, and industrial needs, including repairs, maintenance, and installation. Automatic Gates Construction specializes in designing and installing automatic gates and fencing that seamlessly blends security, functionality, and aesthetic appeal. Elevate the safety and efficiency of your property with a premium gate solution. Automatic Gates Construction at myautomaticgates.com.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? We have it covered at Humdingers. It's quick, it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. Many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdingers, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdingers offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
Now, Sports Time. Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus Cars. Here are your hosts, Let's Start Sports with Brian Davis.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant Brett with you live and local inside our Family Leisure Studios. Last night, it was easy for the
It's
Thunder.
what we thought Game 1 was
exactly. And I think what we assumed Game 2 would be like after Game 1, because you knew that OKC was going to try to go out there and step on the neck early. Now, I mean, it's what to expect next. I really don't know. I mean,
somebody's got to get 3 wins.
Someone's got to go out there. I mean, I think you still feel pretty good about OKC and this whole thing, but you look now and right now, just looking at it, and I think it's gone up. OKC, a 5.5-point favorite Wednesday night in Indianapolis. I believe it was round 4.5 has gone up to 5.5. So, I think, look, Pacers have played well and looked good in Game 1, have looked good throughout the playoffs. Did not look great last night, and so they'll need to make adjustments. I think they've got the coach. They've got the right coach to make those adjustments. But this OKC team showed again last night how good they really are.
I think they have the most, and that usually wins.
That's exactly right. Yeah, I mean, they're just so talented and so deep. I mean, I was talking about it with somebody after the game last night there are very few teams that, I mean, both these teams are very deep, but there are very few teams that can go to 6, 7, 8 man on the bench and have them come out and have 20 points or 18 points or 15 points. And that's what OKC does most every single night while still having those starters go out and make plays. I like some of the things they did defensively last night a lot better. It seems like they have made it a fact that because of how athletic Indiana is, they do not want to have both bigs on the floor at the same time. Chet and Hartenstein have not been on the floor very often through the 2 games at the same time. But it felt like they left Chet out there a little bit more last night than they did in Game 1, especially late in Game 1 where they just went away from both their bigs. Oh, that was better. I mean, Chet is versatile enough where he can go out there and defend the perimeter if you need him to and do a really nice job of doing it. So I was really impressed with OKC last night to bounce back and just win the game the way they were able to.
I thought 4-1 before the series started. Oklahoma City 4-1 when we did our picks. Group lock, Oklahoma City. And I still think Oklahoma City will win, but I don't think it'll be 4-1.
No, certainly not. I mean, with Indiana getting Game 1, I mean, now for OKC to be perfect, to get that gentleman's sweep, I think is still going to be tough, even though we've seen how dominant they are. Again, Indiana going back home, I'm not going to be surprised at all if they're able to win one at home. Would still be an upset with OKC favored in these games. But I wouldn't put anything past them, and certainly they've got to make some changes because last night, again, this is a team that has relied a lot on their 3-point shooting, and you just go through their players. Aaron Nesmith, 4 for 8 from 3, which is really good. Tyrese Halliburton, 3 for 8. You'd like a little bit better from him.
A few more attempts and makes.
Sure, and you look at these other guys, though. Pascal Siakam, 1 for 4. Miles Turner, 1 for 5. Andrew Nembhard, 1 for 4. Even going to the bench, Benedict Mathurin, 1 for 2. Obi Toppin, 1 for 5. Ben Shepherd coming off the bench and playing 13 minutes. TJ McConnell, only taking 1 3, was 5 for 7. But the 3-point shooting was just
a lot better
really
player
poor.
at home, McConnell is.
No, he certainly is.
Most reserves are.
But, I mean, it's just the shooting just was not there. I think that's a lot of credit to OKC's defense. But you got if you're Indiana and you're going to want to steal another game, you've got to shoot the ball better. And I think they'll come being at home. I think they'll shoot the ball a lot better.
Are you reading any of these national stories with after this year how the TV deal will change? ESPN, ABC will still be a big part of it, and going forward that only Mike Breen may remain off that that A team that now includes Doris Burke and Richard Jefferson. What's the why?
I've seen. Look, I'll be completely honest. For up until now, I watched a lot of the Insight Cast when they were on ESPN. I found that I like that a lot more than just the regular broadcast. So I haven't watched a ton of it. It sounds like people have not been liking the coverage this year. That it's
too vanilla.
Not even
bland.
Not even maybe more bland. But just like some of the things that they're harping on are just
at Doris
kind of strange. Doris and Richard Jefferson. It seems like it's both of them, not just one of them.
Is it? I wonder how much of it is New York generated, and it's people missing Van Gundy and Mark Jackson.
I don't know in terms of national.
They're New York guys.
Sure. I know a lot of my friends have not been happy with or have not loved the coverage. And certainly none of them are New York guys. But it's just like I know,
I think Doris's style is not going to be loud and brazen.
No, I know one thing that I saw kind of set a lot of people off was she was kind of the first one on national television to kind of call SGA a free throw merchant, and then that kind of became, now everyone's talking about it, and so I saw some people take offense to that.
She's getting blamed for that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that a lot of people are kind of pointing, well, if you hadn't said that during
remember, I
national
asked, I said, I wonder what Whippersnapper thought came up with that. I didn't know it was Doris.
Well,
I'm a defender
she didn't come up with it, but she was kind of the first where it was kind of starting to
sold.
circulate, and then on national TV during one of the games was like, and she didn't even say it as like, it's a bad thing. She was just like, that's why SGA is a free throw
I
merchant.
like her, and I've been fine with her career, and really watch her really come through all of college basketball on her way to the top. But she's got some after her.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Doesn't look like she's going to survive.
Yeah, it looks like it could definitely be a change there, and who knows? Obviously, ESPN.
Mike Malone made for that chair.
Could be, yeah. I mean, it doesn't look like he's probably going to get.
There's going to be a lot of entities out there. There's going to be a lot of jobs.
Oh, yeah, no,
but the A teams, whatever, Mike Breen's on.
Definitely, yeah. And so, who knows who they fill that spot with if they make any changes. But it's been a lot from the crew to just the kind of ambiance of NBA Finals this year. I saw last night they, superimposed little final logos on the court. And so, people have an issue with it not feeling as big. Like
those weren't really on the court?
No. Okay. Those were just on the broadcast. So if you were in the arena last night, you just saw a regular Oklahoma City Thunder court. And people are having a problem with that because they're saying, this is the NBA Finals. We had the big, logo with the finals.
Larry O'Brien trophy.
Exactly. And different stuff like that.
Well, we've gone crazy with field logos. There was a time at the Super Bowl, the only logo on the field was that shield.
Oh, wow.
That was it.
Yeah.
And now that's almost like it's the 35-yard marker, and whatever logo for that city is more about to the 40s.
Yeah, no, it's huge. But yeah, people want it to feel big. People want it to feel different than just a regular season game when they're watching it, and they don't feel like this is what's happening. And I think the other thing I saw is you'd have the logo on the front of the jerseys. Now it's on the back of the jerseys, right kind of at the neck. So people have had issues with how the broadcast is sounding and how it's looking this year. So who knows if we'll see changes. We certainly saw a little bit of a tweak last night for Game 2, but it's going to be a lot of intrigue going into Wednesday.
When the media critic Twitter mob branch of Twitter gets on you, they don't let up.
No, it's very hard to come back from that. So I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But let's go ahead and wrap up this first hour and get to a break. When we return, David Cobb from CBS Sports, he'll join us. We'll talk college football and college basketball. That's next on Sports Time.
Progressive knows road trips without your pet can be tough.
Hi, this is Next Stop Dog Boarding.
Hi, it's Scott again. How's Squeaks doing? You can tell if he's stressed by his eyebrows. Oh, and his breathing should sound like this.
Scott, Squeaks is exactly the same as last time you called.
Okay, let's talk in 20 to see if anything's changed.
With Progressive, your pet is covered up to $1,000 in vet bills in case of a car accident. So next time, you can take your pet with you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Coverage for dogs and cats is included with the purchase of collision coverage and subject to policy terms.
What happens to former real estate agents when they want to sell their homes? This is Sheldon Rosenberg, Ashley Shell Dunn, with Mark's Mansfield Realtors. I am so proud and feel so honored that former real estate agents contact me when they want to sell their homes. They know that I've been in the business for quite a while, have a great deal of experience, and know that I am good at marketing, not merely putting a sign in the yard and looking at sales. Over the years, I have developed a highly successful strategic marketing program that can mean the difference in what you make and win. Talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers, but make sure that I am one of them. So if you or somebody you know is thinking about selling a home, remember what other real estate agents have been in the business do. Then call me, Sheldon Rosenberg. HBQ.
I think a lot about golf, and when I think golf, I think Miramichi. Did you know Miramichi Golf Course offers membership? It's a great way to play more golf for less out of pocket. Their memberships run for $300 a month plus tax, and that includes unlimited rounds and range balls, no extra card fees, priority tee time booking, and discounts in the pro shop. Oh, by the way, there's no initiation fee. Miramichi green fees, they'll allow you to choose the right rate at the right time on the right day for your needs. If morning tee times are more important, you can book up to 14 days ahead of time to reserve your spot. If rate is more important to you, there are discounted evening rates available that you can choose from. Miramichi is now open on Mondays, and you'll find the lowest rate is on Thursday. Sometimes you just need to escape the hustle and bustle of life. Miramichi Golf Course provides just the right place to solve that need. The name Miramichi means place of happy retreat. When you need a quiet, peaceful round of golf, please make your way to Miramichi.
This traffic report brought to you by Triangle Meat Company, feeding Memphis since 1967. Open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, 4790 Summer Avenue. Trust Triangle Meat Company.
Afternoon. Traffic's moving here in the Midtown area as we check it out live on 240 southbound at South Parkway. It's already trying to load up with a little bit of volume. Certain sections of Sam Cooper going outbound, still moving right now on 240 as you get on to 385 Billmores Parkway. Dandelions, crabgrass, Lawn Solutions here in Memphis says give them a call. These guys are the best and they're affordable. Call Lawn Solutions at 867-5626. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
From the Family Leisure Studios, we are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Joining Brian and Brett now on Sports Time is National College Football writer for CBS Sports, Memphis native and Tennessee grad, who you can find on Twitter X at David W. Cobb. It's David Cobb.
David Cobb joins us now to talk all things college football and college basketball. You can check out his work over at CBS Sports. David, thanks so much for joining us. Quick, in 60 seconds, explain to us what happened Friday night and what's changing with college athletics.
Well, the House settlement went through. Of course it went through at 8 o'clock on a Friday night in the first week of June. Because
when I least expect it.
Yeah, I mean, my goodness. But basically it authorizes now for the first time for schools to compensate the athletes directly. It no longer has to go through a third-party collective or what have you. It can be direct to the athletes, but the caveat is that they're going to try to cap it at $20.5 million for all your athletes across all sports. And anything above and beyond that is coming through a collective, going to have to be vetted. It's going to have to be proven to be, quote, real NIL, and that's where it's going to get really interesting because these schools have gotten used to paying a lot more than $20.5 million through these collectives and through NIL. All right, and now all of a sudden we're going to be trying to put some of that toothpaste back in the tube by limiting what the players can make. Now, the majority of what they make will be coming from the school now, and that's going to be a big difference, but trying to police the money they're getting that's not coming from the school, boy, that's going to be the big challenge here.
Who's going to be the approval board?
Well, you got this College Sports Commission with a former MLB executive that's going to be the CEO of it. I hope he's up for the challenge because, man, the college sports industry has about a 100-year head start on cheating. And here he is coming into this job with experience in Major League Baseball, but Major League Baseball, I mean, they have a collective bargaining agreement, and they have collegiality among their owners, and whatnot, and that's not an even playing field in the MLB, obviously, because you got
they have the
big
strongest
market.
union in sport.
Yeah, but at least there's some sort of history and guidelines there that have dictated the way MLB has gone. In college sports, I mean, they're trying to implement it on the fly. So this guy, I hope he's up for the challenge because it is going to be a challenge to try to keep the major college sports programs, within the parameters of this House settlement.
It looks to me to be Swiss cheese. That it's got a bunch of holes in it. Title IX questions. I think it's going to be a lawyer's paradise.
Oh, for sure, because the athletes are going to immediately challenge this. For the first time, so what it is if you're going to get your let's say you're the starting quarterback of an SEC program. Let's say you're Austin Simmons at Ole Miss. You're going to get $1 million maybe from the revenue sharing. Okay, all right, very good. Not good for you, Austin.
Let's go with 1.6 as his number. How about it?
Round up, why not?
Okay, let's do that. Let's say it's 1.6. But you know what? A couple of years ago, SEC quarterbacks, boy, they were making closer to $3 million apiece. So we're going to set up some NIL agreements for Austin Simmons to get that extra 1.4, so we can get to $3 million. Well, but the thing is now, it's like that NIL that you're making on top of your revenue sharing from the school. It's going to be scrutinized if it's anything over $600. So that's going to be pretty much any NIL deal.
In college sports.
Oh, I know, right? I mean, shoot, Tennessee was stuffing more than that into McDonald's bags a few years ago.
Right.
I mean, so it's I mean, good luck with it. Good luck with regulating that and getting these athletes in these schools to report when their players are making a deal of more than $600. I hope they're honest. I hope it works.
Players for the bigger bowl games, Rose, Cotton, Sugar, Orange, they were getting $600 for 2 game tickets in 1975.
Oh yeah. And so now here we are trying to regulate this stuff. But I think if you want the big kind of positive takeaway from this all this is that finally the athletic departments are going to be paying at least a pretty sizable chunk of what the athletes are making, because for the last 5 years under NIL, in the first iteration of NIL, the onus was on the fans and the wealthy boosters, and it still is, because they're going to jack up ticket prices to try to make up for what they're paying the players now. But at least it's not, at least it's the athletic departments that are writing the most of the checks now, or some of the checks now. Because for the longest time, I mean, they were just swimming in more money than they knew what to do with. And, you can only have so many associate executive assistant athletic directors before it's just like, man, why can't we just pay some of the players instead of paying another suit? And so, I think that's kind of a step in the right direction from all this.
I think anything that attempts to inhibit the market is going to not be able to face the scrutiny of the lawsuits. I mean, how do you say you have freedom and liberation, but we're going to cut it down to a $600 approval board?
Yeah, no, I don't think you can. I mean, it just goes back to antitrust and like the artificial capping of wages. I mean, it's not something that is permissible under American business law, and it's going to continue to be.
Yeah, I mean, way back when.
Sure, it's going to continue to be challenged. I mean, you're spot on, and so what does that look like? Well, we see it because Greg Sankey's playing golf with Donald Trump. I mean, I don't think he's doing that because he wanted to go explore Trump National in New Jersey, though I'm sure it's a lovely course.
Yeah.
He's doing that because he knows he still needs government help, even after the House settlement. And so that's, I mean, ultimately kind of what it's going to come down to is if they got to get some congressional legislation to enact an antitrust statute, basically, to exempt the NCAA and its member institutions from the rules of normal business. Or it's either that or you collectively bargain, which I think in the end is ultimately what it's going to have to be. You're going to have to collectively bargain in the same way that Major League Baseball and the NFL and the NBA do. And, I think that's probably where this is headed in the long run. It's just they're going to try to do everything they can to make it hard to get there because the leadership in college sports never wanted to see this day come, and the last thing they want is for the athletes to become employees. But if if they would just acknowledge that's inevitable and that's where this is ultimately headed, we could cut out another decade's worth of headaches. I don't think they're willing to do that, though.
David, did you notice, I don't know who was invited, but did you notice the attendees playing golf with the president yesterday?
Well, I knew Sankey, and then there was another big-timer in college sports. Who was it?
The Notre Dame AD.
Right, okay. I wonder what they talked about.
I wonder what they talked about, and I just wonder if somewhere in the golf cart, Greg Sankey, we're going to expand, and Notre Dame would be perfect in the SEC.
Can you see that? Hey, nice par, man. So how serious are you guys about your independence?
Here's the invitation.
Yeah, by the way, this next one's it's a drivable par 4. So really, what would it take for you guys to come and join the SEC? Yeah, I can see that conversation.
Again, I don't know who was invited. I don't know if the Big Ten commissioner was invited or Big 12 or anyone else. And I know what I'm getting ready to say is going to infuriate my Big Ten friends. I know who's won the last 2 years. I know that. I know who's got a great TV deal. I know that about the Big Ten. And I like and really respect the Big Ten a lot. But the president was playing golf yesterday with the two biggest college football entities, the SEC and Notre Dame.
Yeah.
That's
well,
the
there you go.
brands.
Well, here maybe it's this, Brett. Maybe Tony Petitti doesn't play golf.
Could be. Very well could be. But even if you don't play golf, don't you go out there with a starter set if you got invited?
Oh, I don't know, but I know Donald Trump is actually pretty good. I have no idea if Greg Sankey is any good at golf.
I don't either.
But
I've never seen him take a pass at it.
Boy, that'd be tough. Or if you're Tony Petitti, you say, "Hey, Greg, can we scramble?" That's a way to preserve some dignity.
On these airwaves, I am Brian, you'll remember it, the 150th year of college football, 2019 season. And I got asked this at a speaking deal, and then I repeated it on these airwaves. Someone asked me, if you landed here from Mars and you knew nothing about college football, how would you catch up on 150 years? I said, learn the history of two things. Learn the history of Notre Dame and learn the history of the Bear, and you'll be conversational.
No, it's a good point. Yeah, Notre Dame's got a lot of power. They've managed to keep a seat at the table in all of the discussions that have changed college sports over the last 15 years, and they've managed to keep the door open for themselves to the college football playoff and to everything that you want to have access to and be a part of. They've managed to do it as an independent, and I really don't think they want to give that up, and I kind of don't think they will. It's just something that they really take a lot of pride in, and there's never been even the slightest indication that that's going to change. And so I'd still be shocked. I would still be shocked if Notre Dame went and joined a conference, be that the Big Ten or the SEC. And I wouldn't blame Greg Sankey for making a pitch. I mean, you got to do that without a doubt if you get the opportunity, but I still don't see that one happening.
The players and the settlement goes back to 2016. Is that right, Brian?
That's right.
Both of you guys, do y'all think players back to then that were still mostly playing for room, books, tuition, 3 squares, etc., do y'all think they were used?
No.
Well, okay, so definitely people benefited. And profited off of their abilities and their sacrifice. Here's the thing that I would say is I think some of the things we did earlier on in the 21st century were pretty big in terms of having lasting healthcare benefits for these players. Right? Because we know things now about the head injuries and all that with football. Those things are big. The meal stipends, the cost of attendance, all that stuff, I think did away with, hey, they're being used. I think, but now it's they're not just not being used, they're really benefiting as well. You could say maybe back in the 70s and 80s they were being used because a lot of people got pretty rich, so
a lot of assistant athletic directors had really, really good jobs. Now I can argue both sides of it. But I think I really honestly fall on the side of you aren't used. You can leave anytime you want. If you think you're being used, there's the door.
Well, for sure. Nobody's making you, play football. nobody's making you go to class. Nobody's making you, be enrolled or be a part of it. You're free to leave at any time you want to.
I still think
for
it was
sure.
a pretty good deal in 1975 for, I'm going to stereotype here, and I know that usually gets somebody in trouble, but for a youngster from small town, fill in the blank state, Mr. Big in his town, he gets that scholarship to Mr. Big State University, and he goes there, and let's say he's just he starts as a senior and plays a little bit as a junior and special teams player as a sophomore, and he's on the he's on the practice squad as a freshman. But he goes off, and if you put anything into it, you get a degree. You leave that place having played for, hey, he played football for, fill in the blank. You got some degree. You keep your nose a little bit clean. One or two people will make that call and get you that starter job that's above anybody else graduating.
Oh, yeah. No doubt.
I thought that was a good deal.
Mm-hmm. No, it is. Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt. I think that route is, has been proven. But at some point, like, we crossed over to a different dimension. I mean, when you're talking about a $1 billion with a B industry and just the exorbitant nature of these TV rights deals, and then it's like,
and the coaches moving on the drop of a hat,
and their salaries, and then the assistant coaching salaries, and then it's like, we have so much money we don't know what to do with it, so we're going to install a miniature golf course. It just got to be funny money for a while there, and they didn't want to put any structure around it. So many of these issues that college sports have had to navigate over the 21st century could have been solved with a little bit of proactiveness, but that wasn't there, and so it ultimately led to where we are now. And now, you're right, man. There's just going to be so many more lawsuits and hurdles to clear. The House settlement was a big day, but how many of the elements of it are going to stand to further legal challenge? That's we're probably not even at the halfway mark in terms of seeing all that play out.
Mm-hmm. Talking to David Cobby, joins us every Monday, talk college football and college basketball. Dave, it's been kind of weird because we talked with you last week, but the week before was a holiday, so it was kind of a lot of catching up. We did not talk much or a ton about P.J. Haggerty taking his name out of the draft and going and committing to Kansas State. What do you make of him at Kansas State? What will that look like? And what do you make of this current Tiger basketball roster?
Yeah, I guess I was maybe a little surprised to see him end up at Kansas State. That wasn't one that had necessarily been on my radar as like a logical destination for P.J. Haggerty. But it looks like there will be a pretty significant role available to him there. So I think what it does for Kansas State is it gives them a pretty high floor, and that they need that because this is a big year coming up for Jerome Tang. He's got to get back to the NCAA tournament because he got to the Elite Eight his first year, but then it's been a rough go of it the last couple, and so this is a big-time prove-it year for him. And P.J. Haggerty, you land an All-American guard, he's going to help you get back to the NCAA tournament, which I think is something he probably needs to do to feel good about keeping his job for another year. So it's a big-time addition for K-State, but from what I understand, I don't think he got anything close to $4 million or whatever it was, and so it's like, man, if Memphis could have been competitive financially with what you were getting at Kansas State, why would you not have considered coming back to Memphis? Because you know what you can do there. You just led that team to the NCAA tournament, became an All-American. It seems like you still had a good relationship with Penny Hardaway. I don't know. I guess he was ready for a change of scenery. But I'm not at all surprised to see that he's withdrawing from the draft because, I just, even though he had a nice showing at the Combine, I just never felt like a situation where P.J. Haggerty was going to play himself into guaranteed NBA money.
We said it here, and we didn't mean it ugly then. We don't mean it ugly now or sour grapes now that he's not here. But, he had a very high dribble. He was prone to getting picked. To his left was less than stellar. And his outside shooting range was inadequate, I thought.
Well, he also his productivity tapered as the season went along. Sort of felt like defenses began to figure it out. People want to call like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander a free throw merchant. Well, I think you could probably apply the same label to PJ Haggerty.
Especially when they got in clear out mode and he would take over.
And then, but when you play a guy like that for the second time, or you get 30 games worth of film on him, and then you see the way other teams have successfully defended him, and then the AAC officials who cycle through have now seen him a couple times at Tulsa, a couple times at Memphis. They've got the opposing head coach in their ear saying, "Hey, look, he's going to do this. He's going to try to draw a foul. I've told my guys, here's how we're going to defend this. It's not, we're not fouling, right?" And so eventually that stuff starts to accumulate. You start to get a little bit less effective at drawing those fouls. But hey, maybe he goes to Big 12. Those opposing teams don't have that scouting report. The officials who cycle through that conference haven't seen him yet. I mean, maybe there's some advantage to that. And then plus, I mean, it is. Look, I mean, I guess if a push comes to shove, it's just a better league, and so you get a chance to test yourself against better competition. And maybe that's some of the feedback he got from the NBA. It's like, hey, man, what you did at Memphis was awesome. If you go and you're able to do that in a better league, then that's going to improve your chances of making it in the NBA. I mean, I don't know if that's something he was told or not, but that would make sense. And so now Memphis has got to kind of hope that the Dane Danger waiver gets approved. I mean, that seems like what the entire offseason is riding on at this point, because without that, man, I look at their roster and I see some talent, but I see a lack of bigs and just a general sort of uncertainty with a whole bunch of guys that that are all coming together with no prior experience playing at Memphis, playing for Penny Hardaway, or playing with each other.
Mm-hmm. I've been meaning to ask you this, I guess, over the last 2 weeks, but we're seeing an influx of international prospects coming over to play college basketball, and it's a wide range of guys. I mean, you see some guys that come over and they commit to places like Duke. You see other guys that come over. Over the weekend, I saw an international prospect commit to Vermont. So it's kind of every level they're coming over and committing to different places. But I saw this a couple weeks ago, and it just blew my mind. Dame Sarr, who committed to Duke a couple weeks ago, was playing for Barcelona over in Europe. And when asked why he committed to Duke, he said, "I watched a lot of Duke over the last year. Oh, by the way, my teammate's Jabari Parker, and he's been telling me how great Duke is." And it just blew my mind that this guy that's about to go and play for Duke was just teammates with Jabari Parker, and that was a big reason of why he committed to Duke. What do you make of this kind of new pipeline that college basketball is becoming for European prospects, and how much, I guess, do you got on Dame Sarr?
No, it's crazy because Jabari Parker's like 30 years old.
Exactly.
And a lot of these guys, I mean, Dame Sarr is actually, pretty young, but I mean, a lot of these guys who are coming over from the European leagues to play college basketball right now, they're like 21, 22 years old already. They've been making professional money for multiple years. And it's like, would we let somebody come over from or come back from the G League, or we don't let people come over from Australia's NBL because that's looked at and regarded as like a pretty close second to the NBA on the professional circuit. So why are we letting guys come over from Europe?
Guys playing in the Euro League. I mean,
it's a big time league.
Yeah, I mean, there's studs over there,
and these guys are old. It's wild. It makes you realize and appreciate the fact that there's no like legitimate alternative to college football elsewhere in the world. Because if there was a solid European football league right now, I mean, these SEC schools would be importing tight ends and defensive ends from Croatia and Slovakia, and because it's happening in mass right now in college basketball. And ultimately, what it comes down to is these guys can make more money playing college basketball right now than they can playing for their international professional system. So, I mean, that's what it is. That's why you're seeing this uptick and this influx of European talent. It's like, man, well, college money is just different right now. I will be curious to see, though, Bryant, if this stays the same in 2-3 years down the line, because if the House settlement is successful in capping the amount that these players are making, then I'm not convinced that the money will still be good enough, especially in basketball, for it to be that attractive to the European guys. Because what we saw right now, what we're seeing right now, is not only like the revenue sharing that these schools are anticipating for the year ahead, but any NIL agreement that was agreed to before Friday night was not subject to that scrutiny or whatever. So this was sort of the double up year where you could get the revenue sharing checks in these guys' hands, and you could get, the NIL money with no scrutiny. And so, if they're successful in policing the settlement terms with House, it might not be as attractive for the European guys in the future. But for now, it's crazy. I mean, they're coming over in mass quantities. I'm glad you asked that. It would be actually a pretty good story to do right now, just looking at the numbers of the European players in college ball, because it's going through the roof relative to where it's been.
Real quick, who's this year's Arizona State that we don't see coming right now? We saw Scadaboo. We saw that quarterback early in the year. We knew of Kenny Dillingham. We didn't know he was going to be that good. Who's that team this year?
Well, it's funny. I'm getting acquainted with my friends Athlon and Lindy's.
As we all are.
Yeah, I went to the mailbox today just as the mailman was arriving, and I got that little twinge of youthful excitement, like when your Sports Illustrated was coming or whatever it was, and so I was pretty fired up for that. No, I would look at maybe a team like a Duke. It's year 2 now under Manny Diaz. They had a really good year 1. The ACC is pretty much wide open. I mean, we think Clemson's going to be really good, but it's the type of conference where anything could happen. And they think they upgraded at quarterback. They brought in the Tulane transfer who's potentially going to elevate that offense. And we know Manny Diaz is going to run a good defense. So that's one that I'd keep an eye on. I mean, they're very much in that vein, a sleeper team that nobody would be talking about, but that has some ingredients there that could really pop.
Mm-hmm. Well, as we all read these magazines, I'm sure everyone will have their
We're
team.
looking.
We're trying to find them. That's for sure.
It feels like the ACC and the Big 12 could produce about 10 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Those leagues are fun because they're so ripe for chaos. I mean, Clemson's there. Miami should be good. But in the Big 12 in particular, it's just
pick them
so
out of a hat.
Wide open. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it absolutely is. David, as always, thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your week. We'll do it again next Monday.
Okay, guys. Thanks.
Thanks, David. David Cobb joining us every single Monday, talk college football and college basketball. Maybe the best visual I've ever seen is the idea of international prospects coming over in football. And I was just viewing like a Tennessee fan or an Ole Miss fan, watching this newest commit.
Serbian quarterback?
Yeah, this Italian wide receiver, and they're trying to find any possible film they can on this guy.
Don't kid yourself. They're looking.
Oh, they are. Any way they can make their teams better, they are definitely trying to find it. But it is weird that it is very weird that we're seeing this influx in college basketball. But
P.J. Haggerty next year at Kansas State, should we expect him to make All-American again?
I think any player that is coming back after being second-team All-American should be viewed as a guy that should make All-American again. Might be a little different in his situation, but I think the expectation should be that you are an All-American again if you were able to do it the year before. But that will be a big storyline going into next season is can he be an All-American next year in the Big 12 at Kansas State? But let's go ahead and get to another break. When we return, we got to talk the FedEx St. Jude Championship. Joe Tomek, he joins us next.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Everything today is technologically based. Well, except maybe you. If you're struggling with tech, no matter what kind, call Tech for You. Tech for You for TVs, home theaters, cameras, smart locks, digital storage, and more. Tech for You makes it simple and affordable. 697-9695. Make your home safe, comfortable, and up to date with Tech for You. Stop struggling with tech. Call 697-9695. Veteran-owned and operated Tech for You. Technology simplified.
Introducing the new Dell AI PC, powered by the Intel Core Ultra processor. It helps do your busy work for you, so you can fast forward through editing images, designing presentations, generating code, debugging code, summarizing meeting notes, finding files, managing schedule, and responding to Jim's long emails. Leaving all the time in the world for the things you actually want to do. No offense, Jim. Get a new Dell AI PC at dell.com/AI-PC. How those ahead, stay ahead.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's favorite vodka for a reason. From the first legal distillery in Texas, Tito's is 6 times distilled till it's just right and naturally gluten-free, making it a high-quality spirit that mixes with just about everything. From the smoothest martinis to the best Bloody Marys, beyond the bottle, Tito's has gained a reputation for giving back, teaming up with nonprofits around the world to serve its community and do good for golf. Make your next cocktail with Tito's and learn more at Tito'sVodka.com. 40% alcohol by volume, mainly 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
Corky's barbecue. Cooking it up. Down home way. Hickory smoke flavor like a good old day.
Hey, y'all, Jimmy Stone over here with Corky's Barbecue. Catering is our specialty. Indians and trusted Corky's to cater their events for 40 years. Because we make it easy to eat and delicious for your guests. Whether it's 50 people or thousands, our experienced team comes to your location, sets up, serves, and ensures everyone enjoys a Corky's all-you-can-eat barbecue buffet starting at only $7.99 per person. You can't beat it. With 40 years of experience, it's easy to see why customers choose Corky's time and time again for all of their catering needs. Visit Corky'sBBQ.com to book us for your next order.
Encore flavor. Corky's barbecue.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roofing. I have been told that my ads are all business and I should share some of my personality. Okay, I love tongue twisters, like the one about the terrific tasting toast by Taste Tester Toaster, or Big Black Bugs, Bleed Blue Blood, and of course Sally and her seashells. Or of course the ever-present I'm a Mother Pheasant Plucker, I pluck Mother Pheasants. Okay, enough of that. If you want an honest, fair, reasonable roofing, siding, or gutter estimate, call Five-Ash Roofing at 367-0050. That's exactly what you'll get. No empty promises, no high-pressure sales tactics, and no fast-talking salesman trying to convince you that today and only today is the best day for you to get a new roof. For the record, the best day to get a new roof is when you're ready for one. Five-Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing. It's what we do. We're here for you.
This traffic report is brought to you by Millington Weight Loss. For more information, call 901-436-0272.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It's trying to build even more here through the Midtown area on 240 southbound at South Parkway. It's also cranking up over here on 240 east up by Poplar, 240 getting onto 385 Bill Morris Parkway. Busy right now, but it's moving on out towards Collierville. Weimer's Jewelry, your diamond engagement ring headquarters this bridal season. Stop by and see them at Weimer's Jewelry at 7525 Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you live and local inside our Family Leisure Studios. And we got to talk the FedEx St. Jude Championship. Joe Tomic joins us now. Joe, thanks so much for joining us. I saw some pictures the other day. It looks like we're starting to get structures up. Buildings are starting to take place out at Southwind. How's everything going out there as we continue to get closer to tournament week?
Well, man, always good to chat to you, too. 57 and some odd hours, days out. Things are, like you said, things are taking shape. Structures are up. 18 green is darn near complete. It's looking like a golf tournament out here.
8 weeks from today, the entire golf world will be here at our tournament, the FedEx St. Jude Championship. And Joe, ticket sales have started, and I know there's a lot of interest, and I want people to know that there's a price point for everyone. Yes, if you want to go and it be super exclusive for you and your friends, your company, you can. If you want that one day, be out there 4-hour badge, you can get it as well.
Yeah, that's the point, right? We want everyone to have an entry point to be able to enjoy the championship, whether that's corporately and you're entertaining customers. Certainly call our office and we'll walk you through a variety of options to get into the tent, get some nice AC, get some premium food and beverage. But if you're a fan looking to come out too, we have an option for you. You know, one thing that we often don't talk enough, in my opinion, is that kids getting completely free.
Yeah.
15 and under, come out for free. golf is beautiful. You get a front row seat 18 times if you want it, because you can stand right along the rope line.
And Joe, I really believe that 11, 12, 13-year-old that's going for free now, he or she's that person that's making that call in 15 years to buy that corporate package.
Man, I've got a nephew, my godson, came out last year at 4 years old. He got an autograph and a signed glove from Justin Thomas. He got an autograph from Rory. That kid's going to be a fan for life, and he's a golf nut. And, that's the opportunity that we have when you bring out your kids or when you bring out anyone for the first time to enjoy the championship like that.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, it's a perfect opportunity for this because the golfers are so great with the young kids and creating those fans for life. So it is a great opportunity. I did see military. You're trying to have opportunities for military to come out and really show your appreciation to them. Tell us a little bit about what military can expect going to the FedEx St. Jude Championship.
Yeah, I have to thank our partners, Big River Steel, steel mill over there in Osceola. Such incredible partners, and so their commitment was to help us fund a partnership that allows military, both active duty and veterans, to gain access completely free as well. So there's an entire page built out on the website where you can go, verify your credentials, and get access to complimentary tickets. And that's not even all. Once you get those tickets, once you come on site, no matter how you come on site, whether through those military tickets or not, there's a Patriots Outpost, again, presented by Big River Steel out on the 8th green. Awesome venue to see the shots come into the par 3. You've got the pit with all of our local barbecue partners, commissary and others there right in the shade. It's an awesome spot and a great way to honor our service.
Joe, I really do. I like that area. You can get out there and you can see putting out action on one green. Right there's 8T. You can watch them down to the green, and then you can go down to 9T box and stand there in the old silos on your left. That's a fun area.
Mm-hmm. It's a great little triangle. I think people are sleeping on the front line.
And the food's really good in that neighborhood.
Commissary is always serving good food, so definitely a great spot to be.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And tell us about what kind of food. You mentioned a couple of them already. What kind of food can we expect?
As always, we're looking for partners that can show off Memphis' finest cuisine, right? You certainly can come out, get a burger, get a dog from a general concession stand, but more importantly for us, we've got thousands of fans coming from outside of the city. We want them to be able to taste Memphis. So this year we've got commissary lined up. Of course, we got Pronto Pup coming back. Can't have a tournament without them.
No.
We've got Andrew Michael Restaurant once again out on the back nine at their Birdies and Bubbles location. We're excited about 2 new partners this year. So we'll have Snackers serving burgers right on the 18 green courtyard.
Yeah.
And then another new partner, Torchy's Tacos, will be out serving a variety of their delicious tacos. So still looking for a few more probably, but that's the slate we've got set in so far.
All right, Joe, just among friends, what's the earliest you've ever had a Pronto Pup? Have you ever had one before 8 o'clock in the morning?
I will not allow myself to have one until Championship Sunday when the leaders tee off.
Oh, is that right? Well, the late great Phil Cannon, he would christen the tournament as having officially started. He would have one about 7:45 or 8 o'clock on Thursday morning. I said, Phil, man, I can't do the corn dog at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, I could and I would, which is why I won't let myself. Sunday about lunchtime, come find me. You'll find me on 18 Fairway having a Pronto Pup. That's my celebration.
The golf course itself, we know, a big year-long renovation, not a shot being hit. A lot of talk this week about what will be winning score at Oakmont. What do you think the players, ideally over 4 days in Memphis, what do they want the winning score to be around, Joe?
Look, I think Southland's a unique challenge that our players really have come to appreciate because it is both scoreable and very difficult at the same time, right? You have these ungodly and something people don't even realize number of water balls that happen out here, usually in the top 3 on tour, because it is incredibly challenging, particularly on the back nine. But you can also put up numbers in the high teens like we've seen the last few years because if you're put in the right spot, if you're approaching the green in a smart way, and if your putter's on, you could score. You can be rewarded for good golf out here. So, I think we've seen people in that 15, 17, 19 in the last few years. I think 20 and beyond is playing some really good golf, and I wouldn't expect that this year. But, our players want to be rewarded when they're playing well, but also punished for those that aren't. And I think that's exactly what TPC Southland provides.
You're right about the water, particularly on the back. And there, a lot of times you don't think you can get in trouble with that water, and then you are.
100%. I mean, it's
like
a
on 15.
golf course in the middle of Memphis, right? Who would think that you have the most water balls on tour compared to some of the coastline or Florida courses? But there's water on pretty much every hole in the back nine. You've got two essentially island par threes in 11 and 14. You've got sneaky creeks all along the way, like 15 or even 17 if you're really ambitious. But, aside from 13, I'm doing quick math in my head, that's about the only hole in the back nine that doesn't have some semblance of water.
Yeah, only we could get in trouble with water on 13. Well, somehow I'd find it over behind 12 greens where I'd find it.
Any of us can find it.
With a snap hook.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a pool along the fairway, I think, somewhere that I can find.
Joe, we heard the news from the tour last week about them going away from the starting strokes for the tour championship. What do you make of that news, and will that at all affect the St. Jude championship?
I think it's been a interesting exercise to see and listen to, right? They've really leaned in with our players to create a new version of the Tour Championship and really the playoffs as a whole that our players embraced. Them asking, we already talked about U.S. Open and the conditions, them asking Tour Championship to be set up as tough as it possibly can be is a great testament to our players wanting to be challenged and wanting to identify the absolute best player from this season. I think that's incredible. All it does to me is amplify the playoffs. It amplifies particularly Memphis' position because Atlanta truly is becoming one of the hardest tournaments to qualify for, if not already has become the hardest tournament to qualify for in the world. And Memphis gets to play a role in that, right? It goes to continue that just because you might not be winning in Memphis and you might not be the one we're handing the trophy to on Sunday, you are grinding over every putt, every shot, because you need to make sure you're keeping yourself in that top 30. So I think the playoffs are going to be incredible. I'm excited, obviously, to kick it all off. 70 still retains your card for the following season, which is a huge testament for our players after a hard-fought year. And, we're excited to kick it all right here in Memphis like we have the last few years.
And this week, the U.S. Open, we always get a major winner prediction from you. Never mind the score. Forget about par this week, as the USGA usually does, 289-yard par 3. That's not one of my favorites. But who do you think will emerge this week as the winner of the United States Open?
Yeah, you always ask for my picks. I can't say that I have any history of winning here, but I'll still give obviously it's quite silly to put any money down on anyone other than Scotty Scheffler at this point, but let's assume that's off the table. I still like Colin, and I'll throw another one in there as Xander. I think two guys that have the credentials and the iron play to put it in the right spot for handling Oakmont's challenges. So I'll throw my hat in their rings.
We hear about second shot golf courses, or you got to putt golf courses, and the easy math is to be able to do it all. But if you don't drive it well this week at Oakmont, I don't think you have a chance.
Yeah, it changes it, right? The one of the complaints about professional golf in this era with modern technology is the ability just to bomb it off the tee and figure it out, right? Doesn't matter where it ends up. You'll get as close as you can, and you'll figure it out. Yeah. Oakmont and really the U.S. Open traditionally takes that away. You need to be hitting the fairway because if you don't, we've all seen the videos coming out of Oakmont this week, you're going to be punished. And so having the players that have a little more control over their driver, I think, is going to be much more important this week than it traditionally is.
I would not, but do you think people would laugh at someone for laying up on a 289-yard par 3?
I don't have that in my bag, so I will be laying up, whether intentionally or not.
Why wouldn't you?
These guys are incredible from 100 yards and in. So if that's what they feel is the best strategy, I don't blame them. I don't know necessarily what's around that green, what other risk is ahead of you if you were to pull it left or right or far. But I wouldn't take it off the table.
There was a colorful golf figure here way back, and he used to tell me all the time, "There's nothing wrong with making par."
Yeah, especially at the U.S. Open. Like I said, par is
your friend.
Yeah, it really is. Joe, before we let you go, tell us where people can go and get tickets for the FedEx St. Jude Championship.
Yeah, as always, FedExChampionship.com takes you to our website where you'll find all the information you could possibly need, including a link to go get the tickets. All of our social handles are at FedEx Champ across the usual platforms. We're constantly throwing out updates and new information across those. And then we have a newsletter when you go to the website that you can sign up for, and I promise you we'll hit you over the head with plenty of information.
Joe, thanks as always for joining us, and we'll do it again soon.
Gentlemen, always a pleasure.
Thank you, Joe, so much.
Thanks, Joe. Joe Tomek joining us, talking FedEx St. Jude Championship as we continue to get closer and closer to that fun event that we really enjoy every single year. But, hey, he said that they're looking for a couple more food vendors out there.
We got them.
Man, that list
Sign up.
that he already laid out there already sounded incredible. And Tad Moore is even better.
I find myself, golf tournament week, FESJC week, I find myself eating more than I do watching golf.
No, absolutely. And your Pronto Pup question, I mean, very strong of Joe to hold himself.
What's your
I eat way too many Pronto Pups. And what usually happens for me, if everything is set up the same, which it has the last couple of years, we're set up right next to a Pronto Pup stand. So usually I will rush out of the house early in the morning. I'll get there and I'll go, I haven't eaten breakfast. There's no way I can walk around this golf course with no food in my system. And so I find myself walking over.
So it's a breakfast food for you.
It is a breakfast dog for me. Nothing wrong with it. Get a Pronto Pup in your system and go watch some golf. I think it's a great thing but just for that week. And then after that,
I told Phil Cannon, if you can eat a Pronto Pup at 8 o'clock in the morning, it'll put hair on your chest.
I've eaten worse for breakfast, so
well, I have too, but that was coming in.
That's true. That's a good point. Yeah.
That wasn't getting up.
Yeah. Well, hey, however you want to see it, I guess. For that week, I think it's okay to have a little Pronto Pup for breakfast. But we need to get to another break, and when we return, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
One thing Bell Tavern can say with confidence is that you won't find a better selection of bourbon, whiskey, and scotch anywhere else in Memphis. Maybe anywhere. With signature cocktails like the 3 Whiskey Old Fashioned, the Barrel Aged Manhattan, and the Spicy Margarita, paired with the whiskey flights like the Tennessee Bourbon Flight and the Maker's Mark Flight. There are more amazing drink options at Bell Tavern than you could possibly work your way through in one visit. In fact, it would take many, many visits to Bell Tavern to even make a dent in the extensive selection. Grab an Uber and head to Bell Tavern.
Progressive knows road trips without your pet can be tough.
Hi, this is Next Stop Dog Boarding.
Hi, it's Scott again. How's Squeaks doing? You can tell if he's stressed by his eyebrows. Oh, and his breathing should sound like this.
Scott, Squeaks is exactly the same as last time you called.
Okay, let's talk in 20 to see if anything's changed.
With Progressive, your pet is covered up to $1,000 in vet bills in case of a car accident. So next time, you can take your pet with you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Coverage for dogs and cats is included with the purchase of collision coverage and subject to policy terms.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roofing. Did you know there are so many roofing companies in Memphis that I don't even know them all? So that begs the question, which one should you choose? So I thought I'd give you a little background about me. My grandfather was a World War II Marine. My father worked for the University of Memphis for nearly 30 years. My mother, a pianist at Raleigh Baptist Church. Seems like forever. I went to Brownsville Road, Craigmont, and Bartlett High School, class of 81. We support the local school systems, youth athletics, and believe in what St. Jude and Le Bonheur stand for. I'm a Tiger and Grizz fan. The point? Memphis is my home. Five-Ash Roofing will be around if you ever have a problem with the service we provide. Five-Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical, with deep local ties in our community. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Wally Hatchet serves breakfast all day and Southern comfort food for lunch. Hatchet fans love our huge omelet, breakfast Sammys, scrambles, and chicken and waffles. For lunch, check out the Mississippi pot roast, chicken fried steak, grilled meatloaf are one of our best-selling burgers, lipstick on a cow. Pickup, delivery, and catering are also available. Visit WallyHatchets.com to order online. Wally Hatchets is located at 6439 Summer Avenue and open from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. Tuesday through Sunday. Wally Hatchets. Count your blessings, not your calories.
Extraordinary events from once in a blue moon, and right now, even the most extravagant luxuries are well within reach. The one and only May sale is back at Sissy's Log Cabin, and you can save up to 50% on nearly everything in the store. This is your chance to get the service, selection, and experience that makes you feel like family at the best prices of the year. Guaranteed. Don't miss the one and only May sale at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry. Sportstime on Sports 56 and 95 once again, Brett Mosley and Brian Davis.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
Well, Brett, my big number today, it actually encompasses multiple things because of what has happened over the weekend. But it is, and this might be a surprise after the basketball last night, but it is a baseball big number. The number is 497. That is how far Roman Anthony hit a home run over the weekend, 497 feet, 115.6 miles per hour exit velo on that home run. It was an incredible hit. He has been incredible. He's the number one overall prospect in baseball. And just a couple hours ago, it was announced that he has been called up to the Boston Red Sox and will make his Major League Baseball debut tonight
and
for
play
the
where?
Boston Red
What
Sox.
position?
He will play right field. He will bat fifth. And the Roman Anthony era begins in Boston.
And he can't miss, right?
He is. I have not watched a lot of him, but if you're hitting 495-foot home runs and you're the number one prospect, he seems pretty can't miss to me.
You got to get him up there and see what he can do.
You got to get him up there. And they've been calling up, this is, I think, the second or third prospect they've called up in Boston, at least bats. I don't know much about their pitching prospects if they've called any up, but this is the second or third bat they've called up in terms of prospects. So we'll see what he's got tonight, and it looks like that Boston team trying to bring up a couple prospects.
My big number is 25. It's a percentage. 25% of the teams that are in Omaha will be from the SEC.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound too bad, does it?
It doesn't.
You had 20% in the entire field.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound too bad. 25
no,
end up,
not.
But it was bad.
Yeah.
To only have two to make Omaha, and those two will face each other
right.
in game one. We could have the unthinkable in Omaha of no SEC team in the 2 out of 3 finals.
Sure could. You sure could. Now, the two teams that are standing from the SEC, I think both looked really good over the weekend. I think Arkansas looked better than
and
LSU.
They in Texas were the best 3 all year, right?
That's right. Yeah, well, maybe Vanderbilt in there. But certainly those were
late.
Those were, yeah. But got the number 2 overall seed, so I would probably throw them in there. But yeah, I mean, those were the top of the SEC all
But this
season.
was a miss.
Oh yeah, no, it for sure was. And I mean,
who's the biggest miss
in terms of teams?
Should be in Omaha, but they're not.
I mean, it's one of those SEC teams, I would say. I mean, probably Texas. If I had to say, probably Texas.
Does it make it better or worse for Ole Miss with Murray State if they win and get to Omaha? Does that make you feel better or worse if you're Ole Miss?
I think it probably makes you feel worse because if they get through Duke, I mean, it will take a 3-game series, but if you're Ole Miss, you would have had home field advantage for the Super Regionals. Duke is showing that they're very beatable.
Would have been opposite Arkansas, LSU.
Yeah, and so I think it feels like kind of what we were talking about, back a couple years ago with Memphis, of kind of a missed opportunity. If you'd beaten FAU, where would you have ended up?
It kind of opens up.
Yeah, maybe for Ole Miss, a missed opportunity with what happened in that other regional with Georgia not getting through and facing Duke. You would have liked
Poor
that a lot
Florida
more.
State.
Yeah, that was tough.
It continues.
It does. Oregon State, they're a really good team, and we'll see what they can do in Omaha. And hey,
So
Coastal Carolina, first time since they won it all in 2016.
Yeah,
that'll be fun.
2016.
2016. Yeah.
I got one from the Sun Belt, Coastal, Arizona from the Big 12, 2 from the SEC, LSU and Arkansas, 1 from the Big 10, UCLA, 1 from the Pac whatever, Oregon State. We will have at least 1, maybe 2 from the ACC. U of L's in, waiting for tonight's final with Duke. And if they don't win it, the Valley.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, it will be could be wide open if Murray State gets in there. I mean, it'll feel like every conference is represented in Omaha.
Duke makes the basketball Final Four and Omaha and a Gator Bowl. That's A.
That's certainly an A.
That's a heck of a sports year.
It's definitely. I mean, it's
already.
phenomenal.
If they don't make it, it already is.
I mean, it's been really good. And yeah, I mean, for them to have all that success and for it to spill over into other sports, yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens tonight. Obviously, with that winner take all game, but it's been a fun season in all sports for Duke.
How does Oregon State do it up there?
It's a great question. I don't know. I mean, they find ways, man. They get in talent, and they certainly have shown. I mean, I think now they have the building blocks where they show, hey, we can get you to the next level.
Wouldn't it be fitting in the 2 out of 3 in their opposite brackets? It can happen. Arkansas revenge against Oregon State. It would be fitting for the Razorbacks.
Well, and
they handed that away.
Sure, and I mean, I would say after the weekend, Arkansas has looked the best start to finish since postseason play,
and the favorite.
And certainly the favorite. But I would say Oregon State's been one of the more battle tested teams. I mean, having to go up against Florida State in that last round, those are probably the 2 best battle-tested teams so far in the postseason. So I'd love it if those 2 teams met up in the finals.
The crowds in Fayetteville.
Oh, man. They're incredible. Any type of...
Among the best you'll ever see at anything.
I mean, anytime it's big-time baseball, they know how to throw down in Fayetteville. It's fun to watch.
Almost as loud outside as sometimes Bud Walton Arena gets inside.
It really is. I mean, they love their baseball, and, obviously we talk about it a lot. Have had a lot of success getting to Omaha. It's just pushing through and getting all of it.
It's the last thing, and it's their turn.
It does. It feels like it. It feels like,
it's past their turn.
Sure, but, it feels like the way that this postseason and really season have gone, the way that the odds are set up with them as favorite, it feels like it's their year, and we'll see if they can take it.
It'll be the easiest marketing department thing next year if they win it all. Omaha.
That's right. Well, they already have it. Now you can I guess officially
with gusto Omahogs.
That's right. Yeah. You won't. I mean, we won't be able to say they can't call themselves Omahogs if they win it all. So they'll earn it hopefully, but we'll see. It feels like a weird Omaha, but it feels like it could be a fun Omaha.
It does.
With the storylines out there. So we'll keep an eye on it. Obviously, the big game tonight, Murray State and Duke. We'll see who punches that final ticket to Omaha. But we got to wrap up this second hour, get to a break. When we come back, we're talking Grizzlies. We're talking the Zach Edey news. We're doing all of that with the beat writer, DeMichael Cole. He joins us next.
Quality, superior service, and brilliant natural diamonds. Find your dream engagement ring, wedding bands, and more when you shop Sissy'sLogCabin.com or stop by any of our 7 locations. Begin the rest of your life brilliantly. Only at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Febreze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust Febreze car vent clips, featuring 3 distinct intensity settings. Because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for sudden freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing. Which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs. Picking up. Awesome.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your number
options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at TriumphAutoSales.com. Or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home in Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 11 to join Ottawa Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawa is the CUSA Church downtown Memphis.
This traffic brought to you by Raleigh Tire Auto Service, your local family-owned business for over 60 years.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. We're looking live at this crash over here underneath this bridge overpass. It's going to be on 240 eastbound at Poplar. It's got traffic pretty slow over here as you come past Bill Morris Parkway. And once you get up to the accident scene there past Poplar, it does start to pick back up. Again, 240 eastbound at Poplar on this crash being cleared as it gets heavier out of Midtown just in the last few minutes on 240 south at South Parkway. Weimer's Jewelry wants you to know they are your diamond engagement ring headquarters this bridal season. Stop by and see David this week at Weimer's Jewelry on Highway 60.
Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis with John Harden. Weekdays from 11 to 1. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jack Wiley, Roller Bluff City. Once again, Red North
Say you stand by your man.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you live and local inside our Family Leisure Studios. We got to talk Grizzlies, and joining us to do that, like he does every Monday, DeMichael Cole joins us now. DeMichael, thanks so much for joining us. The big news on Saturday, Zach Edey will undergo surgery on his ankle, and according to Shams Charania, is expected, it is likely he will miss the start of the 2025-26 season. What can you tell us about this injury and about this surgery for Zach Edey, and how big will this be for what the original plans were for this offseason prior to this news?
Well, this certainly, wasn't expected. You look at what Omar Cicelo taking over and what Zach Edey did in that small time frame in terms of his rebounding numbers and, the uppage, with the screen setting and things like that. There was a lot to look forward to with the idea of Zach Edey getting this full off season. He was going to play in Summer League, getting that opportunity, to play some games there and really kind of growing. And they say players grow the most from year one to year two, and he had a really good opportunity to do just that. So now it kind of, it's just a size type of thing, because now you slow down, that progression and that development and that opportunity to take that big jump from year one to year two, and it'll still be there for him, but, he won't get that normal off season and whatnot and to take that leap. So, that's kind of a big bummer in itself. As far as what the Grizzlies are going to do, that's still kind of, a little bit up in the air, because they're still trying to learn more on the actual timeline of this thing. This is, I would call it like, this is not something like, because he's had chronic ankle injuries, I guess is a decent way of like putting it. Like, this is, we saw, in Summer League when he first injured his left ankle, and then the regular season he missed 12 games, because of a left ankle sprain. And then now you have this one, which is pretty much happening during off-season training. And it's to the point where it's like, look, we're talking about a big guy here. He's been having problems with his ankle. So it had to be addressed. So when you factor in all of that, I think the main thing here is he's not going to be here for the beginning. He's not going to be here at the beginning of the season. He's going to miss some time. This is a surgery that, while it's rare, there's been previous examples of NBA players who've had it, and they've come back from it. And so, with all that being said, I think, he'll be back. He'll still be able to, go forward in his career, do everything he needs to do. But it's a bummer, the timing and everything for the Grizzlies.
DeMichael, how common is this surgery, this injury, and has it ever ended a career?
It has not ended a career, to my knowledge. I got something coming out more on this, like tomorrow. So it's gonna kind of, but there's actually, a few examples. I'll give you one, and that's Sam Merrill, who used to play, with the Grizzlies.
Mm-hmm.
So he is an example. You look at his case; he's a player who had a similar injury, and I think his timeline was roughly 4 months when he had the injury. So I think that's kind of the time frame that you're probably potentially looking at. But again, Sam Merrill, that's a guard, different type of player. But there's some bigs who've had it. So I don't think career ending is this situation at all. It's more of, look, you want to get ahead of it. You want to get out of him having these constant ankle injuries. Even when he came back from the left ankle sprain last season, you saw he had, he was playing with the ankle brace and things like that. So it's kind of just, getting in a situation where you don't have to worry about that stuff anymore.
What's the earliest you see him back?
Ooh, the earliest? For me, right now, rough based off what I know and what I've learned, I'll say, mid-November. Mid-November.
I'd take that right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think now what I think will happen is probably mid-December, like somewhere around there. But I think if you say, the earliest would probably be around that time, because you look at about 4 months from now, you get to November, then you talk about ramping up and all those things. I think mid-November is kind of the optimistic side of the situation.
What do you think? I mean, November does not sound as bad as what I think some people anticipate this could be. December, you're kind of in a different conversation. But if you're the Grizzlies, what do you go about doing this? I mean, do you start the offseason playing a guy like Jaren at the 5 and kind of just shifting what you have on the roster? Do you go out and maybe try to get somebody cheap that can be a stopgap for you while Zach Edey is out? Because, I mean, we're talking coming back in November, coming back in December with an ankle injury. It's probably going to take him a little bit of time once he gets back on the court to really, get into his groove. What do you think? Is there an answer this offseason to trying to find a stopgap or finding someone that can play your 5 while he is out?
Yeah, I think they can manage this situation well. I think, they're still figuring that out right now, what that looks like, what happens next, because as you guys know, they got some decisions to make that are probably a little bit more important than who's going to start 20 games, at the start of the season at center. They got some big decisions to make with a couple other front court guys, with Santi and Jaren being those two. But I think there's a couple ways you can go with it, and they'll be fine regardless. I mean, they're going to have weaknesses, they're going to have flaws, but there are ways to manage it. You could do the double big lineup of Santi and Jaren. You could go with Jaren and Brandon Clark, which we saw at times, this past season. There was some Jaren and Brandon Clark starting lineups with Zach Edey coming off the bench. And I want to make sure that I word this correctly, because it's not a situation where I want to use the term blessing in disguise, but I will say this. It is a situation where, with Zach Edey being injured, it puts the emphasis on the Grizzlies going out to find another kind of bigger physical big. That is something I thought, regardless of Zach Edey's situation, that they should add Doesn't have to be someone who's going to start 40, 50 games or whatever the case may be. You need another guy because right now, this is what I'm getting to. When Zach Edey is in foul trouble, you're basically in a situation where you're either going to have Brandon Clark come in, who's going to be very good with his mobility, but he's an undersized big. And when you bring in Santi Aldama, you bring in a less physical big, and you deal with that problem. So it's a little bit of give and take with those guys, but neither one of them kind of have the optimal size that you want in the front court with a big.
Yeah, I mean, you took the words right out of my mouth. I've been thinking that all day of this, it is a perfect opportunity for them to go out and add something down low.
100%.
You mentioned some of those forwards. Santi Aldama, we know a big offseason coming up for him financially. Brandon Clark is a name that's been floated out there a lot. Jaren Jackson Jr., we know, missed on the All-NBA team, so we know what that means in terms of extension. Talk to me a little bit about the offseason for all three of these guys. Who's the most likely to return? Who's the least likely to return out of those three forwards?
Okay, you said Jaren, Santi. Who was the third one?
And Brandon Clark.
Brandon Clark. I think Brandon Clark is generally pretty much safe, barring some big trade. Like right now, if there were some massive trade to happen, without moving the big three, so to speak. If you say, I want the Grizzlies to bring in a starting caliber player who makes over $20 million a year, so to speak, which I don't think they'll do that. But if you wanted a player like that without touching Dez, Jaren, or Ja, then Brandon Clark would naturally be the guy who's probably going to be included in that case. But I think he's pretty safe. I think Jaren is the next guy who's the safest. I mean, as we've been reporting, as you've heard, a lot of times, as we talked about on the show with Jaren, I mean, all you got to do is follow the paper trail, as they like to say. Like, when they let go or when they traded Marcus Smart at the time that they did, there were some people saying, well, why did they do it now? Now you have the answer. It's clear as day. This was kind of a cap-saving, move that was made in order to, position themselves where if Jaren did not make All-NBA, they would be able to get a contract done through the renegotiation route. So basically, if they would have kept Marcus Smart, they wouldn't have been able to do the renegotiation route. That wouldn't have been an option. And Jaren isn't signing that, 4 years, 146, the max that he currently can get without, going the renegotiation route. So basically, you would have just been waiting till next year and just with your fingers crossed, hoping that Jaren loves Memphis more than everywhere else, because now he can visit every other city in the NBA, and you have to deal with that. But with all that being said, I think Brandon's pretty safe. I think Jaren's next up. I say he's pretty safe as well. Santi is safe too, but the thing about Santi is you just don't know what the market's going to be. And look, I've been talking to people about it, and it's like you get the sense that there aren't a lot of teams. It's not like it used to be with restricted free agency in the early 2010 teams or whatever, where guys would, I think of the Jeremy Lin situation. That's a popular one, right? Mm-hmm. Where the New York Knicks were saying, we're bringing Jeremy Lin back. We're going to bring him back. Like, don't worry about it. He was a restricted free agent. And then the Houston Rockets swooped in, and they said, boom, here's this big contract for Jeremy Lin. Now what are you going to do? The Knicks was like, all right, we weren't planning on paying him that much.
That is
the only way that Santi could realistically end up somewhere else, and I don't think that's going to happen. There are a couple teams that have been rumored to have interest, but interest is one thing. But the Grizzlies are going to pay Santi well if he's back here. So I don't think the money will be some problem unless some teams just like we said, the Jeremy Lin situation, where a team just basically purposely overpays in order to keep the home team from re-signing them.
DeMichael, with the Zach Edey injury, who do you think it directly affects the most? Maybe not impeding development, but curtailing and hurting development alongside him. Who's the player it most affects?
The player that it most affects from a development standpoint,
or just the familiarity with him.
Honestly, I think it's Ja Morant.
Mm-hmm.
And Ja's going to be fine. It's not to say he won't be. I mean, he's Ja Morant. But I think the two people that stood out to me were Ja Morant and, you said players, but I want to swoop in Twoma Cicelo here because his system, like, there's other, there's always these ripple effects. Now, I think Iselo's going to challenge Jaren Jackson Jr. You've not been a good screener at the NBA level. I need you to be a much better screener, because in order for this system to go, in order for us to be the best version of the Memphis Grizzlies, I need guys who can set solid screens and create that freedom of movement that's going to make this offense excel. And Zach Edey was that guy. Now when you factor that in, I think it's going to challenge those guys to do a little bit more of that. It's going to be challenging for Ja Morant because he doesn't have, that big body Zach Edey setting those screens, clearing that space, and putting him in those advantages that he is one of the best guards at taking advantage of when he gets in that mid-range area, getting downhill to the basket. Zach Edey has been really good at helping Ja get in those situations. So I think Ja is the main guy. And then Juan Iselo, I really, really want to see what this means for him as a coach, because we know he talks about it. A lot of his system is predicated on screens, and the Grizzlies up and down the roster, there's just not a lot of really good screen setters left right now. So that's why we talked about going out, getting that other physical big, maybe someone who has that type of experience.
What after Edey, was Brandon Clark the best screen setter?
Yeah, definitely.
DeMichael, you wrote last week about Cam Spencer and kind of what year two could be for him, of him, maybe trying to find a role on this in this rotation. How big is this offseason for him? We've seen a lot of guys that spend the first year or two in the G League and make that jump up to the rotation. How do you view him going into year two next year?
Oh man, I got some expectations for him. He's going to get increased opportunity. You're going to see it in summer league first, where he'll be in a situation where the ball's going to be in his hands. He's going to get a chance to play with the ball. He's going to get a chance to play off the ball. And his aggressiveness has always stood out to me. Like when you talk about like Luke Kennard, which is the guy who he's going to be kind of compared to from a role standpoint, Cam Spencer, we're talking about G League, but he took 12 shots a game in G League, 9 with 3-pointers. 9 3-pointers a game out of 12 shots a game. So he's gonna get his shots up. You don't got to worry about that. And I think that's a big advantage for him.
Yeah, it definitely is. Who are some guys we're talking about kind of off-season and trades? You mentioned, some of those guys that could be included in a trade.
DeMichael's wish list.
Yeah. Who are some guys, whether it's trade or free agency, that you think would be a good fit, that you think the Grizzlies should look at in the next couple of weeks?
And if you got a big story on this and it's embargoed, we understand.
Malcolm Brogdon is one for me, and I know like. The first thing when people hear Malcolm Brogdon, injuries, and I get that, but here's the situation. You got to be real with yourself. One, the Grizzlies don't have a lot of tradable contracts that they would like to trade. There aren't a lot of contracts around the Grizzlies where they say, oh, let's move this guy, let's move that guy. If you want to keep Desmond Bane, Ja, Jaren together, and you want to try to get good bang for your buck, I'm looking for guys who have proven, because I want proven players, guys who've had success, guys who've been good, but I also want, guys who are going to take a mid-level exception, guys who are going to take that contract. And he comes to mind for this. Malcolm Brogdon is that guy. So I think Malcolm Brogdon makes a lot of sense when you talk about a guy who's been a 50, 40, 90 guy in the league, when you talk about a guy who can defend. When you talk about 2023, it's only 2025, y'all. It's 2023, this guy was the sixth man of the year with the Boston Celtics, with a really good championship team. He could really work well in like a closing lineup situation, playing alongside of Ja, playing alongside of Dez. If one of those guys goes down, he could start in either spot and really exceed. So I'm looking at a situation where he would be really helpful. So he's the main guy that comes to me. I think another guy that I've thrown out there is Gary Payton II. Because we're talking about if you have the cap room MLE, which is roughly $9 million to play with. I think Gary Payton is a guy who we've seen it. He's guarded Jaren. He's guarded, he's guarded bigger guys. He's guarded Ja Morant. Adding that defensive versatility, a guy who can guard the point of attack like that, and teaming him up with Jalen Wells, teaming him up with Scottie Pippen Jr. To give you, what I think, if Gary Payton joins this team, he'd be the best defender the best perimeter defender, at least on the Grizzlies. So that would help elevate another weakness, which I think the Grizzlies, as we saw towards the end of the season, they got beat off the dribble a lot. And Gary Payton II don't get beat off the dribble that much. So you factor in him, you factor in a guy like Malcolm Brogdon. Those are two names where I say I'm willing to. I know everyone's not going to agree with this. I'm willing to take the injury risk with Malcolm Brogdon for the hope that if he's available in March and April, he's playing his best basketball, you're gonna get your return on that investment.
I like it. When do you think league-wide the first trades will start?
It won't be long. I mean, it will not be long. Brett, when I tell you, when I talk to people around the league just to get a sense of this offseason, I mean, I get the sense that there are going to be a lot of trades simply because, again, we just talked about it. Teams don't have a lot of cap space right now. So what you're going to see is a lot of movement of money from team to team. Hey, we want these two guys. We'll take a bad contract and a couple picks. If in order you get these two, and we'll take the good player. You get the bad contract that's a 1 year expiring. Like you look at a team like the Washington Wizards, they stockpiled with these expiring contracts or whatever. So I'm looking at situations like that. You're going to see a lot of trades this summer. I mean, there's going to be some movement with the free agents or whatever, but the trades, that's where the biggest transactions will likely happen.
How did the whole league kind of get stuck in this spot of the money all being so tight?
It's simple to me because what happened is, and this is where, like, when this whole idea of what's a max contract, what's a max player, the stipulations of it and whatnot, like, that's why we're in this situation. Too many guys, and don't get me wrong, I love seeing everybody get their money, but if you talk about it from that standpoint, like what you just said, why are all these teams dried up for space right now? Too many guys have big contracts. Mm-hmm. And it gets to the point where
the market's got to thin it out.
Yeah. You're stuck with a Gordon Hayward, on a bad contract, or you're stuck with, some of these guys who, sign these big deals. Like you think of that 2016 offseason when guys like Ian Mahinmi was getting big deals and things like that. And what happens is these teams are stuck with these contracts, so they end up trading them to bad teams. So guess what? Even some of the bad teams, most of the bad teams, don't have a lot of cap space to go in free agency and sign the good players because they are going to sign. They're using their cap space to get draft assets while taking on bad contracts. So trades in the draft is kind of like replace free agency as the number one route. Like, and you just don't see a lot of those. I mean, think about what we saw with the Heat that time when they signed Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, and Chris Bosh, or the situation, with Golden State when they signed Kevin Durant, simply because they had the flexibility to do it. Like those situations don't happen anymore because Steph Curry was on a 4-year, $44 million contract, at that time. But that contract today, if Steph Curry was, signing a rookie scale extension today, he would have gotten roughly 5 years, $200 million instead of 4 years, $44 million. So it's the way the game is shifted in terms of, you see so many guys like, we can make it local. I mean, Desmond Bain, when he got his contract, there was like a lot of like, oh, did he put, he's not an all-star yet, not all-NBA yet, but he's got pretty much essentially a max deal. So you get a lot of that, right? You get a lot of a situation where a lot of guys are getting their money, and kudos to them. I mean, kudos to the NBPA for making that happen. But on the other side,
but it plays out.
Exactly. You have a lot of teams that have 2 to 3 guys taking up majority of the cap space. That's across the league. You have that.
Yeah. Well, it should be a fun off season, and we'll see when we start seeing moves. Feels like everyone kind of waiting for that Kevin Durant and Giannis situations to work themselves out, and then it feels like we'll see a lot of trades. DeMichael, as always, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you again next Monday.
All right, appreciate you guys. Take care.
Thanks, Michael. DeMichael Cole joining us from the Commercial Appeal, the Grizzlies beat writer, and even though the Grizzlies are out and not many moves are happening, he is putting out so much content over at the Commercial Appeal. Go check it out. I mean, stuff from who the Grizzlies should trade for, who the Grizzlies should attack in free agency, who they should draft with their second-round picks. I don't see anybody doing second-round draft pick stuff, but DeMichael Cole's doing it over at the Commercial Appeal. He is working his tail off. Go check out his work at the Commercial Appeal.
If this were football, John Morant just had his starting center out for a long term.
That's a really good.
And you got to get used to someone else.
Yeah, that's a really good comparison because that relationship, especially when everything.
He's the quarterback.
Yeah,
and Zach's the center.
Exactly, and when everything we've been told about Isolo and his offensive system is, hey, it's gonna be a lot of pick and roll. It's gonna be a lot of you're gonna see a lot of that. Well, then yeah, I mean it's a perfect comparison of that quarterback center relationship has to be perfect. That point guard center relationship has to be perfect, and so it's gonna be weird.
And DeMichael called it straight. There's been a lot of people talking that Jaren can play tougher with those screens.
Oh yeah, no kidding. I mean,
and sometimes foul trouble inhibits it.
Yeah, well that's the big thing
because you don't want that moving screen.
He almost can't play as aggressive as you'd like him to play because you're worried about him picking up those fouls.
And they call that.
Oh, they certainly do. But I loved what DeMichael said of maybe, and not even saying this any type of way, but this almost being a blessing in disguise for the Grizzlies to have to say whether it's a guy that we view as can be a starting center, can be a backup center, or just somebody to get us through. We've got to get bigger down low because there were a lot of times last year where whether it was injury, whether it was foul trouble, whatever it might be, where Zach Edey's on the bench and now you're out there with a couple of forwards and you're having to play small and it just kind of becomes a mess out there.
It may be a blessing in disguise. But it's very well disguised right now.
Well, and that's the thing is not even saying it in any type of way of appreciating him being injured. It looks bad right now, and it is bad. There's nothing good about this injury, but I do think it makes that issue even more alarming, and hopefully this front office will do something about it. Well, we're gonna get to a break in just a second, but I got to remind you about our 5 o'clock sponsors, Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. They're with us every single afternoon, and over at Bluff City Jaguar, they've been the premier Jaguar dealership through the greater Memphis area since 1984, so you got to head out there and check out those beautiful vehicles they have in stock. And their talented team is ready to help you find your next perfect vehicle at unbeatable rates. Swing by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City today and check out the new 2025 models like the 2025 Range Rover Sport, the 2025 Range Rover Velar, and the 2025 Defender. Test drive the Range Rover Sport, where luxury meets performance. It's a perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility, with options ranging from 360 horsepower up to 635. It's also available as a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle with $7,500 federal tax credit when leased with approved credit. Take a look at the Range Rover Velar, powered by mild hybrid technology and enhanced with the latest well-being features and fully connected entertainment system. The Range Rover Velar is the ultimate luxury compact crossover. Purchase yours today and get special 4.4% for 72 months financing available with approved credit. Don't forget about the Defender, available in multiple models to fit your needs. The Defender is built for the modern explorer, and Jaguar Bluff City is offering special interest rates for 60 and 72 months on various models. Give them a call, 877-259-6169. Go online to jaguarbluffcity.com. Head out there and test drive these vehicles. 6335 Wheel Cove, just off of Quince, for Bluff City Jaguar. Let's get to another break, and when we return, we'll talk about what's trending.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Sports 56.
Looking for sports in all the wrong places. Try the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland's Town Square. Fun, exciting, friendly, and comfortable. Wall-to-wall TVs, 24 taps for all your beers, including $3 domestic and $5 craft drinks on Monday through Friday, 3 to 6 happy hour. Music bingo Tuesdays, daily specials, and Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland's Town Square. Highway 70. Check Facebook for daily specials and weekend music at the Owner's Box.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough from everyone home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home in Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Automobile Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
Take your basketball skills to the next level at Shoot 360 Memphis. Shoot 360 is a revolutionary basketball training facility that combines cutting-edge technology with gamification and provides instant, objective feedback with hands-on, one-on-one expert coaching. And now, introducing Shoot 360 for you, a newly renovated 50,000 square foot facility with 2 NBA regulation-sized courts, 3 high school-sized courts, and 4 shooting bays with Shoot 360 technology. Memberships are now on a monthly basis. And yes, you can become a member in both locations. Whether you're an aspiring young talent, NBA player, or looking for a unique workout, all skill levels are welcome at Shoot 360 Memphis to learn proper shooting and passing techniques, improve fundamentals, and gain a competitive edge while having fun. Shoot 360 Memphis now in Cordova and Connerville. Call them today at 901-779-3176. That's 901-779-3176. The future of basketball training is here. Shoot 360 Memphis.
Memphis Public Links has so much going on right now. Audubon is right around the fairway. Wait until you see when this thing is a finished product. Fox Meadows is in great shape. The Links at Pine Hill is now a masterpiece of a place to play, as are really all the other Memphis public golf courses. Galloway is playing like a championship course. They just finished the 75th year of the OPO, and Overton Park is now talked about, and that layout all across the state. And by the way, folks, it's so easy to make a tee time. The hard part is getting your buddies to pick their time. You go online to memphispubliclinks.com, select your course, then grab your tee time. Simple, easy, and incredibly convenient. Also, on the website is a schedule of upcoming events. There you'll find something that will interest you. Again, if you want to book a tee time or find out more about tournaments or other events at any of the great Memphis public golf courses, go online to memphispubliclinks.com.
This traffic report brought to you by Triangle Meat Company, feeding Memphis since 1967. Open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, 4790 Summer Avenue. Trust Triangle Meat Company.
Good afternoon. It's pretty heavy now, right on schedule for this time of day. 40 east from Sycamore View Road all the way out past Germantown Parkway. It's taken a while to clean up the earlier wreck. 240 east at Poplar. It's already busy up through there this time of the afternoon as it gets heavier trying to get south of Memphis. It's been moving fairly decent down to through South Haven on 55 down into DeSoto County. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry, your diamond engagement ring headquarters this bridal season. Stop by and see them this week and shop local at Weimer's Jewelry. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you live and local inside our Family Leisure Studios. We got about 30 minutes left in today's show. And Brett, speaking of bad news, we talked about the Zach Edey injury news earlier today. Darius Garland, it was announced that he underwent surgery to repair his toe. He'll be sidelined approximately 4 to 5 months, so that's kind of in that November, December, January window.
Did he have it removed?
I don't know. When I saw toe surgery lasting 4 to 5 months, I was shocked.
Boy, that's about the only injury the Grizzlies ever had.
That's right. I don't know how people would react to a toe injury keeping you out that long.
I'm trying to think of famous toe injuries. Dizzy Dean had a broken toe, and it changed his pitching, his landing spot. It threw his arm out, famously.
Yeah.
I think Catfish Hunter may have had the same thing.
Oh, Catfish.
I'm trying to think of other toe injuries. I love when you hear turf toe.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of a generic term when it might be a swimmer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, you can get turf
What turf
toe.
was he on?
You can get turf toe doing anything. I think some people might have called this turf toe for Darius Garland.
And he has not played on turf.
I remember somebody, like in the last month or two, hearing someone having turf toe, and I was like, that's hilarious because they're not anywhere near turf.
Yeah.
So it might have been Darius Garland. But injuries all over the place around NBA and basketball.
DeMichael touched on it. This offseason, we're going to have some star moves, but we're going to have a lot of, it appears to be mid moves.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But can really help someone next year.
Definitely.
And when all these big contracts, when the money runs out, that's all they can spend until it kind of retrains.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back. We talk about it a lot with on Thursdays, and how this second apron. You're seeing a lot of change in terms of teams where the big threes are kind of out in the NBA now. It's a lot more of just kind of maybe two or a guy and then a lot of pieces around him because you just can't really supplement an entire roster with all how big those contracts are.
We will be the only market if Desmond Bain is moved that's major in, isn't it?
Probably.
Sports talk radio in Portland. That's
no, definitely not.
That's not much to them.
Definitely not. No, they're not doing 15 minutes.
And it's not as big today as it would have been as we talked about it a year or 2 years ago.
Yeah, and I mean that's just the way that last season played out for him.
Familiarity bred contempt.
Yeah, and I think it was just what he's done in the playoffs has not been good enough, and so I think you're seeing that play out, and people are ready to move on from somebody, and
it was everything. It was shooting, it was defense, it was ball handling.
No, it was a lot, and so I don't know. I feel like we're going to see some moves from this Grizzlies team. Don't know when, I don't know who exactly, but he certainly feels like he's at the top of the list.
I think we have been very high road today, Landon. As Cardinal fans on this side, I think Bryant and I have shown great restraint in not spiking the ball over the 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers.
I mean, what a weekend. What a fun weekend. I mean, it's been...
Well, I mean, Mets went 2 for 2.
Well, I guess so.
We had our 2 wins. Dodgers had their 2 wins. That's
split.
Fine. We split. And then we, faced the Rockies.
Won
so
a split for the Cardinals. It's a win. Series win.
Dodgers pitching it's hurting.
It's bad. It's really bad. They need. They're looking for some help and aren't finding it anywhere.
Ballpark had some sizzle to it all weekend
did. It was fun. It was a fun weekend. It was the first 2 games were. I mean, that game Saturday was electric. The way that it ended and having Arenado coming off.
Thought it had been blown.
And I mean that was
blown save for Helsley.
It was fun. It was exciting.
Win,
and then yesterday, Sunday, they get their 1 win. But hey, I'd say it was a great weekend for the Cardinals.
We were talking with David Cobb about the House settlement, and a few years ago, Lane Kiffin said these players playing now, from 21 to maybe till now, till the settlement to 24, 25, they may look back as playing in the golden era.
Yeah,
that you could make a lot from a lot of people. It feels like the market might be settling down a little bit.
Definitely.
Even with this huge tranche of money that they have to spend.
Oh, certainly. And, they have to spend it, but, they've got to kind of pick and choose their things. And, I mean, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about talked about a lot lately because of basketball, because of football, because of softball out of nowhere. But, this big-time, billionaire can't just go out there and say, I want to win a Women's College World Series and let's pay the pitcher.
Is it back to the bag man?
Well, that's the point. That's a great point by you of,
And looks like we really don't have the NCAA to do anything anymore.
No. I was thinking about that.
Except for really declare eligibility.
Yeah, well, and they don't do a great job of doing that either. But yeah, I was thinking about that with David. Of he mentioned the McDonald's bags. And I mean, McDonald's bags, they might be back in. That might be the big thing.
We're selling those bowl tickets again.
They sure could, because I mean, he mentioned it. We've kind of talked about it, but now that everything has to go through a council that is over $600, Brett. How many NIL deals have you ever heard of that are less than $600? Zero. Nobody's doing an NIL deal for less than $600. So that means every single NIL deal. And I should note, it is, if you want to put on your conspiracy, I mean, there's no conspiracy to it. Everyone was rushing to do it. But you saw the pitcher for Texas Tech. She's a millionaire pitcher this past year. Right before Game 3 of the Women's College World Series, she goes out there and gets a $1.2 million deal from Texas Tech. Everyone was trying to get those deals in before July 1st so that they don't have to go through this council to check off everything. So we've talked about it a lot. It's flawed. It's going to open up plenty of lawsuits. I think plenty of under the table stuff is coming back. And I really don't know where this is going to go.
Will it help, though, and if we got some guidance from the NCAA, do you think the multiple transfers will slow down?
It certainly could. I don't know, because you're still going to be able to go out there and pitch, hey, we've got this much money set aside for you. And, my question is, obviously money is different at different places, but, if University of Kentucky or, insert school here that has football and basketball, how are they going to divvy up the money between football and basketball? But then you got a team like UConn over here that, they play football, but it's kind of at a lower level. Maybe they're not giving out as much money. Then you go to other schools like St. John's that doesn't even have a football program. Gonzaga, perfect one. They don't even have a football program. They aren't going to have as much money there to pay those players, but all the money they do have is going to basketball. So there's a lot of questions about where this goes moving forward, and I just don't know, because if you're PJ Haggerty and, Memphis is saying we can give you this, Kansas State is saying we've got this much money, but, hey, all this money's going to football. But then Gonzaga is saying, well, hey, we want you as our point guard.
We can double it.
We'll triple it. They can name the price for that. So it's going to be weird.
I hate it when a player, I hate it really in any occupation, whether it's at the end or after a long tenure with a company, whether it's in sales or in anything. And I've seen it in sports, in media, sports broadcasting. Some people that didn't feel like they got the whole enchilada during their career at the end, they feel like they were used. And, company, I don't have that sentiment at all. I mean, it's just not in me. I think I've probably have been treated better than I really deserved. Just to be candid, I just hate it when I see that person. Sure. Maybe if you go to the retirement party and it's more bitter than sweet.
Yeah. No, it's always on the back end, Brett. You never hear about that during while it's happening. It's always kind of after the fact of,
they used me. I just don't have that.
No, I don't. And you're gonna see that with a lot of former athletes, and I think you've already seen it with a lot of former athletes. You brought it up with David Cobb when we were talking with him about a little more than an hour ago. Of were those guys used pre-NIL? And I would say no. We talked about it with David. I would say no, because there was still a lot that came with it. You were getting education. You were getting room and board. I mean, it was
a lot of status.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot that came to it. Now there were some shortcomings of it. I think we can all acknowledge.
1980 football player at you named the big place. Mm-hmm. He goes and applies at a brokerage house over pretty good student, but just when you're picking up that phone and you're dialing and smiling, they don't know you. They know that former player, and you're working that sales territory or whatever. That was worth something. That had cachet.
It does. Oh no, it definitely did.
He had zero debt.
Yeah.
Also this, really more for basketball than for football. You went to places. If you went to Maui, you went to some of these tournaments or a big city, to the preseason NIT. You weren't ever seeing New York in your life before that time.
No.
You got something that most other 20-year-olds back at school didn't get to do.
Definitely.
So I just don't buy that I was used.
No. Certainly, look, if I was an athlete and now I'm seeing guys making $1 million, sure, I would wish I could have that money, but I don't think you can go to the extent.
I know their comeback is going back home was no option.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I bet you could if you'd wanted to.
Sure. Look, I'm not saying it was easier then. It's a whole lot easier now being a student athlete. I mean, with the NIL money, with the transfer options, with it's a lot easier now.
Or is it? Because there's no pretense now. You are being paid by us.
True.
We expect you to do
true.
this.
That is true.
You fumble, you miss that reception, you miss that completion. It's glaring. You missed that block and the quarterback got splattered. That criticism, we've got expectations from you. We're paying you.
No, criticism's certainly coming, but then, still at the same time, enter that portal and you go and play somewhere immediately next year, whereas, 10 years ago, you're having to sit out and wait, and maybe you don't want to transfer. So, I'd say it's still easier. There is going to be that.
Now,
the criticism is going to be huge.
That player from yesteryear that didn't feel like they got the right medical attention maybe later in life, I can see where they might have some contempt, maybe embittered a little bit. But mostly, I never had much time for that guy that played in 78 and he didn't think it worked out for him.
Yeah, no, I really don't have that either. But, hey, it's definitely a new era with college athletics, and we're going to see how it plays out over the next couple of months, over the next year or two, as we really see what this House settlement has in store. But we need to go ahead and wrap up today's show and get to a break. When we come back, we'll wrap up today's show with Crunch Time.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you for water bottles. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Since 1948, in the alley, the Rendezvous. I'm with John Vargas. John, what's going on in the Rendezvous?
Brett, after 76 years, we've decided to expand our product line. Anyone who's tasted our ribs is familiar with our vinegar base. It's now available in the 32-ounce jar. It's so good the base will marinate all meats. I even put a little bit on turnip greens. Something we've been using at the restaurant or at our house has been the Greek seasoning. My father was a cook, but my mother was a chef. And she was the one that put Greek seasoning on everything from a Mediterranean diet to steak. My mom used it on soup, salad, veggies, fish, any meat. It's a great seasoning and a flavor enhancer. My brother Nick figured out salt and pepper is more than just McCormick's and Morton's. He's come up with the perfect blend we use to coat our shoulders and our brisket, and he used to make it for his friends as Christmas gifts, and they loved it. All these products are available at Rendezvous or online for shipping as gifts and in many grocery stores. And if they're not in your favorite grocery store, ask your grocer to stock it.
A beloved family of charities still going strong since 1948. Rendezvous.
It's time for fun, family, and fabulous prizes at the 67th Annual St. Louis Hole-in-One Charity Festival, Sunday through Saturday, June 15th through 21st. Golfers can win cash and prizes every night, along with the chance to win $25,000 for a City Auto vehicle purchase select nights. Then a chance to win $1 million the final night. Plus, there are cornhole tournaments every night with cash and prizes. Friday and Saturday nights, there are kids' carnival rides and 2 to 4 Saturday children's golf. So golfers, grab your clubs. Cornholers, practice your aim. Families, bring the kids. Memphis, there's something for everyone. You're invited to the biggest party of the year at St. Louis Church, 203 South White Station Road. The 67th Annual St. Louis Hole-in-One Charity Festival, Sunday through Saturday, June 15th through the 21st. Fun, family, and fabulous prizes all week as you help raise funds supporting youth programs at St. Louis Church.
Pools, and more pools. Yes, it is pool time at Family Leisure. Family Leisure is already booking pool installs, so you need to buy now and get on that list. 24
4-foot pool start at $19.99 install. Liners are starting at $2.99. You're going to need some pool accessories, so they're all up to 20% off. Not quite ready for a pool? That's fine. Get a 5 or 6 person hot tub starting at under $7,000. You can also go for a swim spa or perhaps a cold plunge tub. Those are now $2,000 off. Get patio furniture up to 50% off on select sets. Buy your pool now. Get on that install list. Mention this commercial, and your install is free. It's underlined in the in bold print, so you know it's big. It's pool time at Family Leisure. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Getting engaged is one of life's most spectacular occasions. And when you find your ring at Sissy's Log Cabin, the promise of a lifetime begins with our promise to always provide unmatched quality, superior service, and brilliant natural diamonds. Find your dream engagement ring, wedding bands, and more when you shop Sissy'sLogCabin.com or stop by any of our 7 locations. Begin the rest of your lives brilliantly. Only at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Crunch Time is brought to you by Humdinger's Corporate Catering. Enjoy tacos made with crunchy slaw, grilled fish, and chicken, and the best taco sauce in town. Find out more, call Jenny Nash at 901-606-3172.
This is pretty cool, and we're just getting started, so.
Spanning the globe.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
Crunch Time is brought to you every afternoon by Moe's Southwest Grill. Are you in need of catering? Well, Moe's Taco Truck is always ready to cater for you. Just give Jenny Nash a call at 901-606-3172. That is 901-606-3172. Go to Moe's.com as well. It's your one-stop shop for all of your taco crunch time emergencies. We talked about on Friday, the buy one, get one that they had yesterday for Best Friends Day. I was there. It was packed. It was delicious. Go check out Moe's. Perfect for tonight. Go and get some dinner there before you settle in and watch the NHL Stanley Cup Finals. Well, Brett, what I learned today is that we're getting some headway on the Pac-12, as today all of the members are signing, saying that it's official, they're part of the Pac-12, and now it sounds like we're getting very close to a TV deal being announced for the conference as a whole. And when that happens, it feels like maybe more information about who they're going to go out there and get as their final, or maybe one of the final members for football, whether it's football only, whether it is for all sports. Chris Vanini tweeted this out. The 8 Pac-12 schools have all signed their grant of rights and are expected to finish up the TV deal soon, sources tell The Athletic. Discussions with prospective 8 football members are ongoing now that TV number specifics are mostly hammered out. And I don't know if you saw over the weekend, Boise State's athletic director did a little Q&A on Twitter, and a Tiger fan jumped in there and said, "What do you think about the Tigers being a part of the Pac-12?" And he said, "I love the athletic director y'all have down there in Ed Scott. I'll never say never, but you know, maybe it happens one day." And Ed Scott went in there underneath and said, "The respect is mutual. Thanks for the kind words." So maybe things moving in the right direction for the Pac-12.
Boy, I hope so. I learned Omahawks, again, for the Razorbacks, clearly the favorite. This is their year. They've watched Florida, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, LSU, Tennessee all win it. It's the Razorbacks' time. Anything other than a hog pile in Omaha. See what I did there?
I love it.
It will be a failure.
That's good.
Not disappointing, a failure.
I think Arkansas needs to hire you for all of their promotional and different things like that, because
I don't think there's a prayer.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't put money on it, that's for sure. What I could have done without, man, it's got to be hard. Look, there are a lot of things in Paul Skeen's life that are probably phenomenal, but the team he's on, it has got to be an awful existence for him. Another game this weekend where he goes out there, is electric, was great on the mound, and he gets a no decision. His team ends up going on to win the game, but he gets a no decision because his team's bats could not do enough while he was out there on the mound. Gave up one run, wasn't even an earned run, and still gets the no
That's
decision.
going to be his existence.
I mean, it really is. You look at what he has done this year, 4-6 on the season, but you look at that ERA, and it is really good right now. 1.88 ERA in 14 starts, but 2 games under 500 as a pitcher.
What about Sonny Gray as National League starter in the All-Star game?
Well, he was phenomenal over the weekend. He's been really good for the Cardinals, so maybe. I don't know.
I could have done without the long-awaited House settlement, finally sorted out, but I hope we never hear from the Arizona State swimmer and judge Claudia Wilkin ever again.
You've really got that name down. I have not. So I'm relying on you to keep that in the back.
Don't you know old Claudia was a barrel of laughs?
Well, oh yeah. I'm sure she was great at parties.
I bet so.
Where are you beaming tonight?
Beam me to Fenway Park for Tampa Bay. Suddenly hot and in the AL playoff mix. Kevin Cash always gets it done. Here's their starting lineup. Third base, Junior Caminero.
Oh, I love Junior Caminero.
Shortstop, Taylor Wells.
Well.
Second base, Brandon Lau. First base, Yandy Diaz. Jake Mangum in left. We know him.
Yeah.
Cameron, who's in center field? What's Cameron's last? I can't remember. Right field, Josh Lowe.
All right. I mean, that's the who's who of Major League Baseball,
That's
right?
as anonymous as it gets.
Yeah, that's not great. But hey, on the other side, you'll get to see a lot of those. You'll get to see the number 1 overall top prospect in Roman Anthony, who's just called up this afternoon. Gonna be in the lineup tonight, playing right field, batting 5th. Beam me tonight. How could you go anywhere other than Game 3
Sunrise,
of the
Florida.
Stanley Cup Finals? Both games have seen overtime. They've needed extra time. Game 3 should be just as fun tonight, but it has been. I mean, again, if you're not watching NHL, I can't blame you. Like, I know it's not very popular down here, but Stanley Cup Finals, it is
Multiple
a different
overtimes in both games so far, right?
1 overtime in Game 1,
too.
2 overtimes in Game 2. It was a lot of fun watching.
Who are we for, Murray State or Duke?
Give me the underdog. I'll go Murray State on this one.
Both of them make me miserable.
Well, you got to pick one, Brett. Or maybe just don't watch.
I can't pull for Duke.
Maybe watch the Major League Baseball tonight then. But it is more of a quiet night tonight around the sports world. You have a handful of Major League Baseball games. You've got the NHL Stanley Cup Finals. You've got that Murray State Duke game. So enough action for the night. It will be a fun night. But that's all the time we have. Enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll talk to you again tomorrow afternoon.
Tasty high note. Oh, hi, don't mind me. I'm practicing my new baritone sax. I just heard PayPal's paying for people's stuff every day for 100 days, and there's 10 million up for grabs. All you have to do is use PayPal checkout online. So there's never been a better time to buy a few things off the old wish list.